Been going. That thing's recording.
Oh,
That thing's
okay,
recording.
sweet.
Everything's recording.
All right, cool.
Cheers. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers over the decks. Air cheers. Boom.
Yep.
Yes, appreciate you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, this is really cool. I've done like one interview before, but never anything like this. So it is, it's cool. It's new and it's a good opportunity to shoot the shit.
Yeah, man. I really wanted to get somebody on who does concert photography
Mm-hmm.
because it's something that I've dabbled in, but not something I've ever really taken seriously as a
Yeah,
career.
yeah,
And I really, I just think it's fascinating. I mean, all of the little pieces, like you bring
yeah,
how many cameras do you bring with you? Which lenses do you bring with you? What types of shows you're into? What the motivation is to get into it? Just
yeah,
the whole gamut.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of factors and different kind of levels to it. You can take it on at like a hobby level, have fun with it, and not be stressed out, and do the thing and have a good time. When you do start to get to a point though where you're thinking like, hey, I could get money for this, like I'm producing quality content that has monetary value to somebody. Um, then you kind of have to start getting into like, okay, what does that take for me to be confident going into a situation? Is my equipment reliable? Do I know what I'm doing enough to not completely biff it going into a gig? Things like that. So, yeah, I think there is this transitioning period where you start out kind of as a fun thing. And then when you start to think about, I want to make a career out of this, it gets a little bit more serious. Just like everything else. I mean, we all get into these cool things because we enjoy them. And then if you find that you really like it, then it's like, how do I make a career out of it and do this for the rest of my life? Same with DJing, same with art, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it takes a lot to get to that point. Connecting all those dots and getting all the little pieces of gear and skills and experience in your portfolio. So yeah,
How long have you been at it?
um, I would say so. I got my very first camera probably about 11 years ago. And at that point, it was like I would take it on vacations, take pictures of animals in the backyard, nothing crazy. Um, then that kind of progressed into when I was at college. I went to IUP as a studio art major, and like that was cool for a little bit. But I got linked up with some guys. They started a clothing company, and then I think my first like actual what I would consider a gig was just like doing a photo shoot of some of their clothes with a model, and yeah, it was just like a pretty simple little thing. But I was like, wow, this was cool. It was fun. I think they paid me like $50 for it or something. Like in college, like $50 was pretty cool for beer money for a little bit. So yeah, I was like, this could be a thing. And then I would say maybe about like 5 years ago, I started to actually like take it on as like, oh, this is something that I could really do and make money with it. And I've had times where I was making more money in the past. I had times where I was taking a break, and but I would say about 5 or 6 years ago is when I really like realized that it was a career option kind of thing for me. Um, but yeah, on and off here and there, and then a couple of other things too, like doing videography, not just photography. Sometimes that's taking the forefront. You get more gigs in one thing or the other. Um, but yeah, it's been a long journey. I'd say I've had a camera for 10 years, maybe making money with it for 5 years, and then the last like 2 to 3 years is like now I'd say this is like my job for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And is it really the photos, the videos, the edits, or is it DJing, or is it both?
Yeah, so yeah, my whole thing has like evolved into a conglomerate of a whole bunch of different things, I would say, in the music industry. It originally started with just doing photography. Then I was like, yeah, this is awesome, but like I've seen my video friends making like 4 times as much money as I was on the same shooting thing that we were doing for the day. And I was like, I should learn how to do video. And then that kind of took a little bit of time to get the hang of, but then I found that I was equally as good, if not maybe better, doing video than photos. And then started working with a lot of DJs, and then was like, well, like I want to have some fun, so like maybe I want to learn how to DJ too. And then,
Or maybe they were also getting even more money.
yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's you look at the different kinds of DJ gigs. I mean, some of my buddies that were doing bar gigs, might have been 4 or 5 hour set at a taco joint, but they were making good money for that. And wedding DJs make a ton of money. Like there's avenues. So seeing that, I was like, I want to learn how to do that. And I was just always around it. People have equipment around and things, and just started learning. And then that started to pick up more and more, being more involved with kind of the local companies and some of my friends that were event promoters. And yeah, a couple people gave me some opportunities, did pretty well with it, and ran with it. And now I would say that's a leg of the tripod right now. Yeah, it's a little bit of a balancing act between everything.
Which is like graphic design, photo, video, and DJing?
Yeah,
Are those the
yeah,
legs?
I would say those are kind of my three things that I'm able to sustain off of right now.
Yeah, because you do press kits and stuff too,
Yeah, so it's been
which is like Photoshop and
yeah,
Illustrator.
a lot of Photoshop. I know how to use Illustrator. I just hate it because it's so
It's really tough.
finite. It's
Yeah.
just like very like numerical. It's very like
Dope though with the
yeah,
rasters
the
and
stuff
the
that you can
like
do
vector
with it. Yeah,
type imaging and
yeah,
just
the
like
stuff you can do
the
with it.
detail is insane.
Yeah, that's that like detail level numerical symmetry
For like
thing.
logos and stuff.
Yeah, that's what
you
it's for.
have to. I feel. I mean,
yeah.
there's just no way. Which is what I mean. I wish I could say I had really figured it out. I used it, and like
Mhm.
taught myself enough to use it to make a couple logos, but
Yeah.
I was never good enough to really make it work for me.
Yeah, I know, like I said, I know how to use it. I just can't get down with it. It's just not like my kind of art. I like to draw a little bit out of the lines, like not be sloppy or anything, but like
Yeah.
my brain just doesn't work well with that amount of like finite detail in a project.
So mostly like give me your logo, give me your photos, or I'll take some photos for you and give me the bio and I'll put
Yeah.
together the EPK so it looks dope
Yeah.
in Photoshop or whatever.
Yeah, press kits.
Dope.
It's pretty much somebody just has to give me all the information and I just glue it all together.
It's like, but your logo is really good.
Yeah, I made that one. I did a rebrand. Oh man, I don't even know how long ago that was, but it was just like one day I was like, I should like come up with a new DJ name,
Yeah.
and I really liked the 3 letter simple kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was just Zack Ross ZRO,
Hey.
and yeah, then it just like, and people don't, I don't know, like did you
Zack
get that?
Ross.
The Z, the R, and the O.
Obviously.
Okay, yeah. So
Zack Ross. Obliviate.
yeah. So it
Zack
just was
Ross.
something that came to be, and
No, I didn't get it at all. I mean, I had no
Okay.
idea. But I didn't know your name also. So
true, yeah, then, yeah. So yeah, it takes people a little bit to kind of connect those dots, but did I just move something?
no, here you can have more slack.
More slack, okay. So yeah, that was something that just kind of came to be. I was just thinking about it, and it took, and people like it. I like it. So and
Yeah.
it's kind of become it's become my brand for everything.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah,
Like
so
people call you that.
to an extent, the people that I like have known for a long time just call me Zach or whatever. But yeah, a lot of people do call me Zero. And my graphic design and kind of photo video stuff right now is under Zero Media.
Mm.
So just kind of added the media on. And then my Twitch handle is a kind of a double play on words, is ZroDubz, which dubs is usually what people will put at the end of their handle for like a dubstep kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
But then
Okay.
also
But it's also a
in
W.
video games, yeah, dubs. So
Yeah,
it's like
wins.
yeah, zero
Yeah,
wins.
yep.
So it was like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one
yeah.
just like kind of also fell into place. So
Oh,
I
sick.
thought that one was cool.
Yeah, throw the dub up. You know what I think about with it is Chicago Cubs.
Oh, okay.
They have a white flag with a W on it that they fly after they win.
Yep.
It's totally legendary.
Yeah.
It's like throw the dub up.
Yeah, and that's just I guess at this point a culture reference of the dub.
And it's DUBZ.
Yeah, that's how I have mine. I
Dubs.
mean, I guess it could be
Is it
different for whatever.
mostly dubstep, or what would you say you're like interested in musically right now?
Um, yeah, maybe when I had first started, it was more strictly like I don't know, kind of narrow-minded to the sense of like I wasn't exploring a ton of genres. I liked house music. I was getting a pretty fair amount of house music gigs actually, but nowadays I would say I'm pretty all over the place, multi-genre. Actually, this Friday is a set. It's a back-to-back with Chris Mays. We have a duo called Clout Fits, which is
Yeah.
really cool. It's a little
Yeah.
gimmicky, but we wear funny outfits and play like OG trap music and like new bass. So that's gonna be a really multi-genre, all over the place kind of set.
Yeah.
Um, so that I think is the culmination of just like exploring different genres for so many years and like learning how to play drum and bass, techno, house music, speed house. There's like all these little subgenres that are popping up too. So it's like trying to stay up with everything and learning new stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like starting to get away from DJing right
Mhm.
when trap music became a thing. So
Oh, okay.
I had already had my whole DJ career,
Yeah.
and then Flostradamus showed up.
Mhm.
I was on the radio in Boston on WRBB, and there was a crew, which I can't remember the name of the crew, but one of the members was a guy named Lil Texas, who you might know
Okay.
because you
Yeah.
mentioned Speed. Was it Speed
Speed
House?
House. Yeah. So yeah.
He's kind of like the guy for that, I think.
So yeah, little Texas. If we're
Yeah.
talking about the same guy, wears a cowboy hat.
You
plays
got
like,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Shows he's got like shirt off in every pic.
yeah. 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 He plays like some really fast kind of hardcore style music,
Yeah.
which like
Hard style, maybe.
hard style, hardcore.
Yeah.
It's not my cup of tea. I'm not gonna knock anybody's type of music, but I don't necessarily think I can get down with like
You can't
really.
dance to it is the thing for me. Like,
Yeah, you don't. If you ever seen a concert of it, because I had to shoot photos for a little Texas show in
I've only
Pittsburgh
seen like
recently.
the 10-second clips he posts.
Yeah,
And
it's-
when I was a fan in Boston, he wasn't on that genre yet. It was
Oh, okay.
still trap and dubstep,
Yeah.
which you can dance to. You can dance to dubstep.
Yeah,
It's actually slow. You dance halftime,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is cool.
Yeah,
It's like you dance to like 70 BPM. It's 140 technically,
yeah,
but you're dancing to 70, which is doable.
absolutely. Yeah, and with some of that faster stuff, once you hit a certain BPM, you're kind of just thrashing and punching the air. And, it's not exactly grooving.
Nah.
You're doing stuff for sure. I think I am gonna take my sweatshirt off. If that's
Yeah,
okay.
it gets hot up here. You got to be
A little
careful
warm.
because the air conditioner, I can't run it,
That'll kick everything off.
or the sound is just like
Gotcha.
obnoxious.
All right, I planned for this.
No,
Oh,
it
wait,
fucks up.
I gotta plug Zed's Vintage
Super Bowl.
Threads.
That is amazing.
Zed's
Road to
Vintage
the Super
Threads,
Bowl.
go
What
to-
was this?
Yeah.
So, do you sell clothes too? Oh, this
No,
is a
my
friend.
buddy- yeah, my buddy's shop. I'll tell you about it one second.
Yeah, you got to tell me about this necklace too. That thing is
Yeah.
very unique.
So,
All the jewelry, and the string belt. This is
Yes, yes.
you got a lot going on right
Yes,
now,
yes,
Zach.
yes. Okay, so first the hoodie
Yep.
from
Right,
a
Road to the
sweatshirt
Super Bowl.
from,
That thing is amazing. I love the weathering. Like it's
Yeah.
just sick. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Miami, Florida. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so sick.
So
My God, you got to leave that too. You're leaving
Yeah,
the
leaving
the little
in
light
sweatshirt.
and the sweatshirt for
Yeah.
sure. It's a large. It looks about the right size for me for sure.
So yeah,
Because my wife's from Miami,
I didn't know that. No.
so it's like I'm not from Pittsburgh, but I'm from Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and she's from Miami, and it's
Well,
just
that'd be perfect. But yeah, if you go down to Zed's Threads, it's on East Carson Street. It is like it's pretty much specialized in vintage Yinzer gear. So just like that, there is some hypebeast stuff. I've gotten some designer things from there, but generally I just stick to the cheaper racks or that kind of stuff. But yeah, very cool store. I went to college with the dude, and he's a great guy. So go down there, support them. I'll get you some really cool Yinzer gear. I mean, Pirates, Penguins, all that. So
I've been going to these shops in Lawrenceville.
yeah,
it's
Lawrenceville's got some
like-
cool ones.
Yeah, the Bodega Lab where I get my film developed.
I've
Have you
heard
shot
of
film at all?
I have in the past. I don't have any kind of like a film collection. The film cameras that I have are like pretty old. Like,
Well, that's cool.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's sweet. I think that I'm gonna take that on as more of a passion project at some point because all the film gear that I have is like my grandfather's that
Yeah.
we've had for so long, and I do think that would be cool. But not right now. I don't have any kind of a film setup.
That's awesome. Yeah, I wish I still had some of my grandpa's cameras. I think he shot Nikon, and all of
Mhm.
his stuff went to one of my cousins
Okay.
who was more into photography, I think,
Yeah.
at the time. Now I don't know. I mean, she does a lot of video in California. She's actually killing it in terms of like if you want to talk how far you can level up
Mhm.
in the game of photos and videos, she's pretty damn far. Like
Yeah.
as far as I can think, you know,
Yeah.
because what she's doing is like doing and feel free to, you know, whatever. So she does like television production basically in LA. And what that means, as far as I know, is if there's a television show, like a Netflix show or something like that,
Yeah.
they have to hire videographers, script writers, director, camera operators, things like that. And her job is to oversee all of the video. Like
Okay.
she kind of coordinates whatever happens.
Yeah. So probably a producer.
She's like a producer,
producer,
kind of
director.
deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's more technical than producer though. Producer to me is more just like money. Like the producer is kind of like they're just kind of fronting money for something to take place.
Oh yeah, I
And
guess I didn't think about the actual. See, I don't. I do stuff with like no budget, so like that. So like I didn't even think about that. Like yeah, I guess the producer does just come in and buy everything. But like in my
Yeah,
mind, I'm
yeah.
like if
She's
I'm
on the
do-
tech side,
Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
I think.
Yeah, because in my mind, when I hear producer, I'm like, this is the guy that's connecting all the dots. It's hiring people and like finding the spot, and maybe not the person doing the camera work, but like picked all the people that are doing the camera work. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm slightly confused on it all.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten that far either. So, I think for me, it was, you know, the farthest I got in photos was in concert photography
Mhm.
was taking pictures in Fort Lauderdale
Mhm.
at Rev Live, where I was official. You know, I
Yeah.
had press pass, and what I would do is they would give me a list of 20 shows that they had for the year before they released them to the
Yeah.
public, and I would pick as many as I wanted, and they'd give me 2 tickets.
Okay, yeah.
I'd give them 100 edited photos, and they'd give me 2 tickets. And then me and
any
my
money
buddy
for it or just the tickets? Yeah.
me and my buddy Ant would show up. I'd, you know, fuck around, have a great time, take a bunch of pictures, and you know, a lot of like, you know, audience crowd photos, flash. I had like I think I was shooting like 2470 with my Canon, like a what was it? Like a 50D maybe? Canon 50D.
Okay, yeah. No, it's a good camera. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine. It had the mirror, so it was like a DSLR. And I actually really missed my DSLR.
Yeah. That one that is now beat up was my replacement for my original DSLR.
Yeah.
The mirror stopped flicking.
Yeah. They do
Yeah.
stop at some point.
Yeah.
Did you know the count? Or are you not sure?
It couldn't have been high enough that it should have failed like that.
Oh,
So
really?
I don't know if it was something that I did.
I think it's like 200,000 or something is like the cutoff, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Usually.
I'm not 100% sure. I know that the A7R2 that we both have, I think it's rated for up to like 500,000.
Well, there's no mirror in it, so
Yeah.
it should never stop, right?
It does still have some things that do things in there. There is a shutter, which I ran into issues recently. I changed a setting on my camera. This was so silly. You know, if you shoot weddings, you don't want to make a bunch of like click, click, click noises. So
Yep.
you can put on the silent shutter mode.
Yeah.
So I did that right before a gig. I don't know why I did it. And it started messing up all of my images in the low light. I couldn't figure it out. I was like 3 gigs deep now at this point when I first bought that camera. I was like, what is going on?
Yep.
And finally I found some forum and it was just like, yeah, like this happens because you have silent shooting on, and it's just leaving the.
The aperture was staying open too long.
So normally when you click it, it flicks the shutter in there. It's not the mirror shutter. It doesn't do
Yeah.
the whole flip, but it does go.
Yep.
And silent shooting just leaves that open, which then it was letting too much light to come in, and it was creating banding on the like LED walls and all kinds of like it was probably a combination of like the lighting and laser systems and like frame rates with the camera. It was weird.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But so upsetting. And I just find that Sony in general, I just haven't been as happy, I have to say.
Really?
I think Canon to me was a more intuitive menu system. The Sony menu system fucks with me. I have no idea what's where. And also, when I'm on manual, I'm not always on manual. I've been trying to adjust the multiple settings on manual, and I'm not allowed. Like sometimes it just doesn't let me do what I want to do, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, there are a couple parameters I've found that I think that they thought was going to be ease of life stuff, and it's not. And like the menu system is not great.
Yeah,
we are on an older one now. I think that the newer ones have better UI.
Yeah, yeah. Have you looked at the Sony Alpha? That's kind of like the peak right now, right? 4500, 5500 or whatever.
The one that I wanted to get was the A7S III, and then I started looking at the ZVX, I think. So I'm torn between both of those. I can't afford either of them right now, so it's like I don't even know why I'm
credit cards, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
life's a game, man. Like money is not real. It's literally just a digital construct.
Yeah.
You just fill out the application. Have you ever seen the music video or the song or heard the song Hell Yeah by Dead Prez?
I don't think so.
Unbelievable.
I know Dead Prez.
Yeah. Phenomenal record.
Yeah.
The whole thing is about breaking the law and getting away with it.
Is it the one where he says breaking the law, breaking the law?
That may not be Dead Prez. Actually, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Is that Motley Crue?
It might. Yeah, it has to be somebody in that.
We'll put it in
world.
the notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, some kind of, man, that's embarrassing. I don't know who that is. But yeah, no, the music video is unbelievable. It starts off without music on, which I always love when they do that kind of like start. Have you gotten into music videos at all or no?
Yeah. So I've done a couple. I've been a part of a handful. I would say one of them was like my own directed and produced thing, and it was for Riff Raff, like the big artist Riff Raff. It was in Pittsburgh.
Just wait until you hear my Riff Raff stories.
Yeah.
Because I got the photos to back them up, and they're gonna pop up in this podcast, and my God, they're good.
Okay, yeah. So I was on a tour. I was on the Riff Raff tour. I got linked up working for OE. It was OE's a Pittsburgh rapper. Pretty sure he's still rapping.
How do you spell the name?
OWEY.
Got it.
Yeah, so got linked up shooting photo and video for him on that Riff Raff tour. It was like 54 shows in 2 months. It was absolutely insane. It was brutal. So I had a great time. Wouldn't trade it for anything. There was a couple of hiccups along the way. But
meanwhile, David Copperfield's doing 560 shows this year, and he's a 2-time billionaire.
What is he even
breaking the law?
Yeah, what does he even need to be? What does he even need to be doing at that point?
He owns 14 hotels in the Bahamas.
God, he needs to just like
breaking the law.
Make a hologram of himself to do all this.
Well, that's the MF Doom strategy, right?
Yeah.
All right, I got to tie 2 stories in a loop before we keep going.
Yes.
So, number 1, the Dead Prez video, and number 2, my Riff Raff story. Dead Prez video, unbelievable. Starts off with a white family in a minivan in Miami. They're having a great time recording on a handheld camera.
Yeah.
And so the actual video starts off as what you see from the handheld camera. You can see, clearly that it is the handheld camera because there's like little kind of numbers in the bottom, and it's just like it's counting the time with a little red record light, and it's
classic look of it. Yeah,
obviously that's what you're looking at. It's like low quality, whatever. The girl in the back seat is using it. She's recording mom and dad. Honey, we're in Miami, and then the mom is like, "This neighborhood doesn't look very good." All of a sudden, you can see like there's just a crew of people kind of like asking them to stop. And then the next thing you see is the window, like the front window being smashed. And Dead Prez takes over the camcorder and starts filming themselves. They grab a CD, put it in the deck, and the song starts.
Okay.
Got to get this paper. I'm down for the caper. This one is where we survive. I know a way we can get paid. You can get down, but you can't be afraid. Let's go to the DMV. Get an ID. The name says you, but the face is me. Like, he goes through the entire way to get fake credit cards, like fill out credit card applications, go through buy the merchandise in the shopping mall, return it. It's just it's wild. And then talks about stealing money out of the register while he's working at fast food, and the whole song is just different ways of getting one over,
of breaking the law.
Anyway, breaking the law, breaking the law. So. So yeah, that's that story. The second one is about Riff Raff. The story is from the Electronic Music Festival in Detroit, now called Movement. It's the only place I ever had, the only music festival I ever shot officially. So I had press passes 1 year. Big one. Yeah, it was sick. It was sick. The story goes, it was 2014 or 2013. I was driving to the festival with my car full of merch for Croc Mode. I had backpacks, painted bandanas. I'll give you one, maybe. I don't know. It might not be too many, but whatever. I had all my stickers, my glow sticks. We were ready to rock. Me and my buddy Danny Longarms. Both of us had press. We had our wristbands. We were in the car driving to Detroit from New York City, and halfway along I-80 or 76 or whatever we were taking, we got the phone call from the dean of my medical school saying, "You got in. Do you want to be a doctor?"
Yeah.
Wow. So that's the story. But we still did it. We had a great time. I did multiple interviews. I think I did 3 or 4 interviews, none of which have come to light. It was Heathered Pearls, Moon Boots, and DJ Psycho of the Detroit Sound Militia or Detroit Underground Militia or whatever. Anyway, Riff Raff and Action Bronson and Lil Debbie all performed that year. Okay, I have crazy photos of all 3 from backstage because they had all of the kind of riff-raff, literally, off on this side stage, which, I was just there. I was just back, and it was Cash Doll was kind of the big rap performer, and then 3 6 Mafia were the 2 performers they had over there this year. That year, I was backstage, Action Bronson was smoking, Riff Raff was hanging out, whatever, and this little kid came up and kind of was trying to get my attention through the fence. He goes, I have this thing for Riff Raff. Is there any way you can give it to him? It's, a skateboard. And it was completely unbelievable. The whole thing was just decorated. He had bedazzled the whole thing in pink and yellow diamond, rhinestones. He had a photo of Riff Raff, which was just it was phenomenal. And I'm like, yeah, dude, absolutely. I'm going to give this to him. And he's like, okay, thanks. And just hangs out by the fence. And I'm like, all right, dude, thanks. And I went and handed it to Riff Raff, and he's like, yeah, this is sick. Fuck yeah, thanks, man. I got a picture with him holding the thing. And then the kid's like, well, I want a photo. Let me come backstage. I want to.
The kid's like, wait. Yeah.
So I make it happen. I talk to security. I'm like, yeah, let this kid in just so we can get a picture with Riff Raff, whatever. Gets the picture. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this. This could be an active legal proceedings, but whatever. I don't give a fuck.
What did it out?
So, let's see what happens. So next thing I know, the kid's getting kicked out of VIP because he's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And Riff Raff is trying to keep the skateboard because the kid had given it to him.
Yeah.
And the kid's all upset. He's like, well, that was just for us to take a picture together. That's mine.
What?
I'm like, dude, you literally told me it was for Riff Raff. You made it for Riff Raff. He's keeping it.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
And Riff Raff comes out and he's like, bro, I'm not giving the shit back. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then the kid's dad comes up to the fence. He hasn't been able to get through security. And he's like, you got to give us the skateboard back. I'm going to sue you guys, whatever.
Jesus. All of this is happening at the at the event.
And that was kind of the last I heard about it at the event. I got some great pictures,
Yeah.
whatever. But I did end up getting an email or some kind of letter or something in the mail that was like, "We need you to testify about."
God. That's
The kid was mad corny, man. You do something like that, like
yeah, just give it to him. That was the whole point. He probably he would have just taken a picture of it on his Instagram or something later. It would have been fine.
exactly.
I mean, I get that the kid wanted the picture. He probably had the whole plan in his head, and as soon as the plan changed, it all went to shit. But yeah, I don't know. Unless it was unless you were doing some shit like giving somebody an actual like diamond encrusted something or like some legitimate. I mean, like I'm sure it was valuable in the sense of it was art, but I don't know. That's a weird situation. You just ended up in the middle of it.
Exactly. I definitely did not want to be there, but it was really fun, and I was happy to do it. Tell me about the festivals you've been able to shoot and like the experiences you've had.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like I said, Movement's a pretty big one. Like that is a larger scale festival. I haven't gotten involved with that one at all. Um,
I can get you in touch with whoever you need to know, man. Just let me know.
that would be sweet.
Afterwards, I'll give you their names and emails and shit.
Grab one of those. Um, I have shot Electric Forest one year. I was on an official media team.
Woo! Let's go.
That was a big one.
That's Rothbury, Michigan, right?
Yep. Dance Festopia, I was on the official media team for like 4 years in a row, and that was actually pretty insane. I would just like I went out one year with my friends, and sorry. Yeah, 'cause now I can hear myself. I've never had to do this, and I'm really talking to a mic like this. So sorry. But Dance Festopia was a really cool one. That one's out in Kansas City, Missouri. And that was a long drive, but it's worth it. It's a really good festival, put together really well. And yeah, that's a good one.
In Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri. It's a 19-hour drive.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a big country.
Yeah. A lot of nothing out there. A lot of weird billboards. Once you like just gets to once you go down south enough and like over enough, you start seeing real weird shit like publicly posted on billboards. It's very interesting.
Like Jesus saves.
A lot of Jesus stuff, a lot of like blatantly racist stuff too.
Yeah.
Like just like I don't know. It just you get weird vibes once you're down south far enough and in these weird remote like super religious like Bible Belt fucking places.
I want a billboard. I saw John Geiger had his own billboard. That was cool. Who else has had a billboard that I've been happy to see?
Around here?
Geiger definitely had a dope one. I was super stoked about that. Do you know him?
Yeah, John Geiger.
Yep.
Not personally. I wish personally because he's a cool dude and he's doing really cool stuff right now.
Yeah.
He actually goes down to Zed's and gets some.
Oh
cool,
shit!
Yeah,
but he's like another one of those, I succeeded and I made it out of Pittsburgh types, right? Like I think about that with Motown a lot because Berry Gordy, he made Motown a thing and then he left Detroit, took it to L.A.
Yeah.
And now we still have that exact same thing happening where people succeed in Pittsburgh, Wiz Khalifa,
Mhm.
and then they go to California to go make their dreams a reality. And my question is always, why? Why can't you stay in Pittsburgh? Why? So here's the question from Wade Anthony. Why isn't there anyone in Pittsburgh with 100,000 followers?
Well, my understanding from seeing a lot of people do it in my time, because I'm kind of just always in the background doing media stuff. So I've been involved with a lot of different people. I don't have the luxury of picking sides and just kind of sticking with one person until eventually it gets to that point. But from working with so many people, it always ends up being that Pittsburgh seems like a really great stepping stone city. Right now, I'm dealing with some things that are in regards to the actual population of the city versus like the market size of like the industry that you're in versus venue size and ticket price. And when I start crunching all those numbers together, I can't justify asking for an extremely high price ticket on an event that I know that there's only so much of a profit margin on. And that's a shame that we're held back by stuff like that. We're not a big city. I mean, you look at some of these other major cities that have millions of population, and like we're just a extra medium city, or maybe like a bigger, smaller city, or a small, big city. I don't know what the right way to say it is, but we have a very interesting population size and market population, I guess. Because like, how many people are coming out to music industry stuff versus like how many people actually live in Pittsburgh? And then you niche it down to your genre, and it's like then you're working with like the EDM people. Like, we have a really tight knit community. We know everybody in our community because there's not that many of us in this city.
Do you know Brandon Hooven and Buku?
Yeah, yeah, Hoov and Rob, great people. They're, you know, very much intertwined with things. I love that Rob's still sticking around and, you know, hasn't just flown the coop, and, you know, he travels a lot and he does stuff everywhere. But yeah, it's people like that that have been doing it so long now. They have an idea of, you know, kind of that understanding of like, you hit the wall in Pittsburgh. Like for me, I would, it's like trying to sound as not pompous as possible, but it's like I feel like I've reached a higher level in what I do in a lot of things. And I might be up in a top tier of this city, but if you compare that to a different city, then I'm just another schmuck again. And it's like you can be the best in the burg, and you're not anywhere near close to where you need to be anywhere else. Um,
Well, that was Lee Turbosik's point from the most recent episode was I surround myself with the six. I want to be with the, you know, you are the six people that you have around you in the room.
yeah,
And he's like, I want to surround myself with the people that can take me to the next level.
yeah,
He's like, that's why I hang out with David Copperfield and David Blaine
yeah,
and not Pittsburgh
yeah,
magicians. He
yeah,
goes, that's why I hang out with Jack Black and Johnny Depp is because I want to be an amazing actor, not because, you know,
yeah, yeah. And that's, you know, you surround yourself with the right people, and, you know, you learn from them, and they bring more good, motivated, you know, people that are trying to do it.
are there people in Pittsburgh that you can learn from like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely try and learn as much as I can from everybody and anybody. There were people that I came up with that have now left, and that I've learned a lot from, and I still am constantly kind of scouting out who's doing what. You know, being a media person, I got to know who the artists are. I got to know who the event promoters are. Um, Expanding your network and just trying to help other people too. Yeah, I definitely am always trying to learn, always trying to expand, and, you know, see how I can help other people too. Play my role and just like be the person they can rely on for things if they need to. But yeah, always learning. You can never stop learning. That's something that I try and practice as much as I can. I think that something I could suggest to people doing is, if you're feeling yourself in a rut on social media where you're just sort of like constantly scrolling and not getting anything out of it, and it's just like turning into like a hellish succubus in your life, then like figure out how to flip the script on that. Use it to learn things. Use it to like retain knowledge. And uh, I keep seeing this thing. It's like replace doom scrolling with micro learning, and it's
Yep.
like, yeah, if you were scrolling for an hour of informational videos that are interesting in your niche that you like enjoy learning about, that's beneficial. But if you watch TikTok videos of like nothing, then like you're just wasting time in your life, and we don't have a ton of time.
No,
We can
no,
we
there
can we
really
can
is not
screw off a
much.
little bit, but like you don't have a ton of time. So
No, no. So I guess that makes me ask about the video gaming a little bit, right? It's like we don't have
yeah,
much time, but you're spending time on video games. Is
yeah.
it lucrative financially? Is it that you just love video games and you'd be on there anyway? And kind
So
of what's going on with your Twitch?
yeah, so with that, I would say that I have always loved video games, and getting older, I know that I'm like always going to play video games, but I'm going to justify it by live streaming so that I can maybe somehow turn it into a monetary gain.
Nice.
And it's not like great money or anything, but I get ad money, and it takes a while, but I do hit my payouts. So it's like every couple months there's a random $100 in there from just like ad revenue.
Yep.
So it's not a lot, but like eventually it could be if I just keep with it for the rest of my life. And like I'm gonna be playing the video game, so why not be live? And also it builds community. There's people that I've like become friends with through it. They support my stuff online, and we've never met in real life, but we hung out online a lot. So it's like you can make connections and build stuff, and I do use it as fun time, and I do kind of clock out, but then I'm also justifying it by live streaming and like, you know.
Do you think that the key to being a successful video game streamer is being good at the game, or is it being engaging, or is it
Yeah.
just being good looking?
Wow. Maybe a little bit of all the above, but no, you definitely do not have to be good at the game. There's people that are terrible at all of the games, and they are just communicating with people and engaging with their community, and um, that's really what people just want. There are these things where people have parasocial relationships, I believe is the term, where it's like you've never met this person in real life. They might not know anything about you, but they are, or in my case, it would be like that person kind of knows more about me from communicating on through the video thing than like to me that's just like a name or something. And you got to kind of connect with that person more. I don't know how to describe it without sounding like it's mean, but it's like, yeah, there's people on the internet that really like can attach to you, and that's something that does happen on these live streams. Is like people feel like they're your best friend, and that's good in most cases. You want people to be friendly, but it can also be not cool.
Yeah, it sounds a little scary in a way.
It's more scary, I would say, for girls. I'm not too worried about it. But like,
Yeah, but at the
yeah.
same time, I used to not worry about stuff like that. And then, like in college, I thought more and more about the type of relationships that I had had and about
Mhm.
the way that I was exposing myself to other people.
Yeah.
Even physical touch is a, it's a concern. And the
Yeah.
way I think about it is this: that whenever you're with someone else in a room, whenever you're locked eyes with someone,
Yeah.
whenever you're physically touching someone, engaging them in conversation by telephone, text message, all of it, every single piece is an energy exchange.
Yeah.
And when you exchange energy, it's bidirectional. What I mean is, you're not just gaining, you're giving.
Yeah.
So the sexual relationships that you engage in college or whenever in your life, you think that it's casual, whatever, casual sex. Maybe it was just it was just fun. Both people, both parties consented. Everybody was happy with the outcome. But then years later, you think about how a little piece of you kind of was left behind. And I think as I've kind of gotten older, I think about it more.
Yeah.
It's real. There's definitely an energy exchange. So I feel like I have to be a little more careful with how I give give myself out. I like the Harry Potter analogy, the Horcruxes.
Yeah.
I think that that's pretty real. Is that
Yeah.
just like how objects can hold pieces of you if if you put enough energy into something, that's
Yeah.
the same way like people can.
Yeah. I definitely think that I like that analogy with the Horcruxes. Yeah. I mean, relationships in your life, eras of your life, places that you lived. I mean, everything kind of happens for a reason. People come and go for a reason. Things go really good, things go really bad, all for some reason. Um, so yeah, I definitely think that that is a good analogy on it. Good, everything good. Yeah. Um,
Want to move your sweatshirt. I just noticed it's kind of in.
oh, my bad.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I like that analogy. Yeah, I mean, everything happens for a reason. Even just this past like couple weeks, I reconnected with one of my friends that I met out in Missouri at that
Mm.
Dance Festopia Festival.
Mm.
Kind of random, but really cool. It was just a nice, like, cool experience to reconnect after so long. And, it's just little things like that. It really puts it into perspective that our timeline, the beginning to end, it might be linear, but things can happen and change at any point. Like, uh, I've taken a lot of left turns in my life and just had to pivot stuff. And I do think that that's maybe where that tripod comes back into play of like at first got really into the photography aspect, and then I was like, oh no, what I need to be doing is focusing on video. And then it was like through all of that and working with event promoters, it was like I could see that there was a need for a solid graphic designer, and um, that's a job you can do remotely. So that one's like extra cool for me. So then it was like a kind of a need or out of necessity that I needed to learn that skill as well, and focused on that for a bit. And it was just like I just kept teaching myself stuff to kind of have in my arsenal, and like
Upskilling.
yeah, and oh, I like that. We'll get into that for a second. Yeah. So yeah, basically having to just learn all these different skills, have it in your arsenal, be ready for anything, um, and then that kind of turned into what you had just mentioned, like upscaling.
Upskilling.
Oh, upskilling. Okay,
UPSKILLING.
gotcha. Skilling. Yes.
Isn't that dope?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, same sense.
We need to
kinda.
upscale too, right?
Yeah.
But both.
Yeah. So I thought you said upscale, but also upskill. But now, in the sense of upscaling, I've now reached a point where my workload's kind of getting to a point where there's things where like I'm double booked for stuff. And now I've started to
Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
yeah, a little bit of breaking the law. But now I've started to kind of expand the team and started to bring on people that I've worked with in the past, people that I'm comfortable with, people whose work that I trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the end goal by end of year, everything, the skeleton's made, it's all planned out. We just need to land on a logo and a name. But my plan is to launch basically a one-stop shop, and it would be like,
let's go.
Yeah, so-
LLC.
yeah.
Zero LLC.
yeah. So yeah, got to figure out the details on that stuff, like what the name and everything would be. But
Sick.
yeah, basically start a one-stop shop company that would be
Yeah.
music industry folks can come to me for logos, EPKs, flyers, promo stuff, photos at the event, videos, editing if you provide footage, literally everything that I've come to learn that people need, and be a one-stop shop. And it's not just me, it'll be a team of 6-7 people. So just a bunch of guys or girls, whoever is interested in it, and be able to provide all of that for people.
Sick.
Yeah, and just like kind of teach people also what they need, because I feel like a lot of us just are like going with the flow and kind of winging it, but like maybe somebody needs to tell you that you need an EPK, and to have an EPK you need decent photos, and like just like so many things that people forget about. And it's like, if you want to make this a career and you want to do this for the rest of your life, you need to treat it like a business. And that's something that this could even now fall back into why don't people stay in Pittsburgh? People don't operate businesses appropriately in the music industry in Pittsburgh. And it's a shame, because it makes things very frustrating and hard to deal with. And, you know, people don't sign contracts, people screw people over, people throw shows that they know that they aren't going to sell enough tickets for, and then they don't pay the opening DJs. Like, there's just so many things that are not cool. And it makes it difficult to want to be like, this is the spot I should be in for the next 30 years. So I do understand kind of why people get out. You hit a wall, and then it's time to let the wings go.
I think if I was a electronic music DJ, I would be in Miami, New York City, Brooklyn,
Yeah, places that have,
Vegas, or LA. There's only 4 cities that I would even consider
yeah,
in the US. If I was doing electronic music.
yeah,
If it was something else, I think it depends. But that's for me personally, if that's the type of music I was playing. I really do think those are the places that one can upscale.
yeah.
When you mention the one-stop shop, first of all, brilliant idea. I absolutely love it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Let me know however I can help. That's
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
best. I love hearing about kind of the next phase, the future. We got to talk about that. But I would tell you, Dewey Decibel. Take this name down. Dewey Decibel. I will have it
You want me to
noted
write it
in
down?
our.
You gonna write it down?
Oh, it'll be part of the
Okay.
podcast. But I don't talk about him nearly enough on this podcast.
Okay.
And right now he's offering $150 for a 30-minute consultation, I think. to discuss whatever branding, basically. He's an artist is the way I would describe him in LA. And I know him from Philadelphia. He was connected with MH the Verb. He was a rapper at the time.
Okay.
And he's since branched out into just basically art. And what his niche has been is doing album covers for rappers mostly, like Theophilus London and Future and some others. And he does a lot of collage art. But the reason that I mention him is because what you were talking about, how you can advise people on like branding and on what's missing.
Yeah.
Looking at somebody at their whole package and saying, this is where you need to go. I feel like that's what he does.
Yeah.
So it's definitely somebody worth checking out. The other one that came up to me was Bugsley, Mr. Bugsley. So when I was living in Brooklyn, when I was trying to get into med school, I had like 2 years where I just had had some little knots to tie and different things I had to figure out in my life in order to become a doctor. And I was an intern for this company called Mr. Bugsley. And I think it's kind of probably the same thing as Steez, right? Like it was like a company that put on shows and they had interns. My job was to get people to shows.
A lot of interns.
Write up the shows and take pictures at the shows and whatever else.
Oh, you're...
What is Steez Promo?
Steez is a regional promotional company. I've worked for them in the past, a couple of mostly just Pittsburgh shows at Stage AE. They do throw a festival, Moonrise. I believe it's in Maryland, I want to say. But yeah, they're a regional company. They throw some of the bigger shows in Pittsburgh. I think that's kind of, if I was running an event promotional company, I think that's kind of a good tier to be at. You know, you have your one big festival a year, but you do regional shows mostly. Once you start getting into some of these like major sized festivals, and you're talking about like millions of dollars to put on that event safely, and that's the biggest thing, is the safety of it all. So you can throw these events on a much smaller budget, but it won't be safe.
What's the name of the artist that everybody's totally forgotten about it, but I mean multiple people were trampled? It was the rapper.
Yeah, it was a rapper
who
Travis Scott, was it? Yeah, it was Travis Scott. Yeah, that was insane. That
why doesn't anybody talk about that shit anymore?
That was a big that sent some pretty big waves and ripples through the electronic community, because that's stuff that like you would never see something like. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't want to say you would never, because I can't speak in a definite like that, but in my idea, you would not see the electronic music community doing something as disrespectful and just like insane as that. Like pushing people to the front, causing a stampede, trampling people, suffocating people. Like, we have respect. I mean, now obviously,
or maybe electronic music just isn't as hype.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, I will give
but first of all, I don't want to laugh at, like, much respect to the dead. I'm so sorry. For anybody that was affected by that situation, like, awful, terrible, absolutely horrific to go to something where you expect to have fun and I mean, can you even imagine? Like, it reminds me of the situation Okeechobee. I guess there was a kid who wandered into the water and never came home.
Somebody drowned.
I don't think there's any resolution, but
I mean, there's safety measures that you can. There's safety measures you can take, but you know, there are freak accidents.
But also,
it's a shame.
There's also a lot of drug use and
that's
alcohol.
That's stuff that I think that there are better preventative steps to make sure that somebody's making smart decisions to avoid drug issues. They have dance safe tents now.
Yeah, I saw them at Movement this year.
Woo.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so the dance safe tents, those are pretty cool. You know,
they have like kits for
Yeah,
fentanyl, and
yeah,
they'll check your drugs for you or whatever.
you go there and make sure everything's straight. So that's a nice safety measure. You know, obviously just normal safety, security checking your vehicles, cars, and everything coming in, and you know, getting checked out on your way in.
What would you do if you had a music festival? Like, let's say you have a music festival. Like you're in charge today. I give you a job. Your job
Mm,
is CEO of Coachella. You
yeah,
know, a massive music festival. What would
yeah.
you do? What would you change, or like what would you do to keep everyone safe?
Um, I mean, at this point, they do have things pretty well situated. The biggest thing that I think you can do that would make an improvement is just not overselling your venue. You know, if a place is rated for 500,000 people and you sell 600,000 tickets, well, where do those extra 100,000 people go? So we fit, but like, come on.
What about when they told Goldmark they could only have 75 people during the pandemic?
Yeah, and then you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Did they stay with the 75 people? I don't remember. I don't
They
know.
did actually.
Yeah.
What Nugget did, which was I thought pretty brilliant, was he started just doing private parties because there was no
Mm.
way for him to break even by opening up.
Yeah.
And like opening up to the public, there was just like no way he could make the money back to pay the
Yeah.
bartenders and the DJs. So he just
Yeah.
started doing private parties.
The pandemic and Nugget, man, that taking down Scenario, that was a really hard one for a lot of people. I can only imagine what he was going through, but
Did you take photos there? Or?
yeah, a couple of times we'd actually at that time I was working with Baseberg pretty closely, and we had booked Wuki, who I'm playing for
That's
on
the
Friday.
headliner
Yeah.
at Cloudfits.
Yeah, so
Dude,
so
that's
this is
sick.
like full circle. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
and I really want you to tell me about the other member of Cloudfits at some
gotcha,
point,
yes,
whenever
yes,
you get a
yes,
chance.
yes.
But you're talking about Scenario.
Yeah, so Scenario, it was a Wookiee show, amazing, and we had booked Wookiee there. It was great. I really loved that venue. I thought it was perfect. You know, you get the club vibe, but it's not like a super bro club. It's not Cavo. It's not some of these other places. And I'm not hating on, you know, any of those other bigger clubs. It's just like the crowd that sometimes is in them isn't my favorite. So I thought Scenario had a good mesh of like good, respectful people and still a club environment. And he would let us do EDM events there, which is kind of tough. You don't really always get people that are okay with it.
He's been super with the whole EDM idea.
Yeah.
I don't know who Baseberg is, but I know that they have a Wednesday, and
Yeah.
he's actually made it clear that every Wednesday at Goldmark is an EDM night. So, I mean, I know there's been some issues with Gold Rush. So Climax and Bryce, I think, run that one.
Mhm.
And there was like, I think last Wednesday, they were hyping like it might be the last one or whatever, but there's still like every Wednesday it's gonna be electronic music when you go to the Goldmark. So yeah, Nugget has been absolutely a supporter, and
I got
Look at you
a
glint in the eye.
Nug
Look
story.
at you fucking
Yeah.
glint in the eye.
Yeah. So yeah, Nugget has been a very great supporter and piece of the electronic community, and he might not realize that, but he is. You know, between Scenario and Goldmark, yeah, the Wednesdays is electronic music at Goldmark. Baseberg has a night there. Kevin and Chris Mays is the person that I have my Cloudfits duo with on Friday. He's a really amazing tech house and disco, techno, all of those subgenres kind of put together. Great DJ. But yeah, then there's also Row House and Friends is the other Wednesday event that I go to at Goldmark. My buddy Ivan Rowhouse, he is the owner and one of the two owner and operators of Rush Promo. So I would say they're probably my biggest client right now on the visual media front, and that's who booked me to DJ this weekend. So
Oh.
this weekend's actually a crazy one for me because I did flyers for it. I'm shooting photo and video for it, and I'm DJing for it. So this is
Sick.
it'll be
Sick.
a nice night for me.
Well, I hope we get it out.
Yeah.
I hope this episode makes it out before this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I might have to get
I
one of your
didn't
interns to help me edit the
yeah.
climax and ZRO episodes that are still in the can right now.
Have you looked into any kind of the AI editing things that are now made for podcasts?
The thing that would make it really easy for me is if I had a little box right here instead of the mixer where I could mash a button whenever you talked and whenever I talked.
Yeah.
So if I banged a button whenever you spoke, that would switch it on OBS.
Yeah.
Like if I had both of the inputs going into OBS.
So they do.
And then I banged a button and then it would just or there's another option which makes it much easier, which is if I just used the audio from OBS, which comes out in right and left. OBS is fucking brilliant. First of all, OBS is brilliant. The MKV file that they store has the audio from you on the right and the audio from me on the left. I have no idea how they do it.
Yeah.
No idea how they figure that shit out. Like it's just going through the, you know what I mean? Like it's going through my interface. Like I have no idea how they know. But anyway, it splits it up one way and the other. So when I bounce it into iMovie or whatever I'm editing in, I can actually see who's talking when.
Yeah.
So it's much easier. You can do it visually. If you can do it visually without having to hear it, you're just done. It'll take me 1 hour to edit a 3-hour episode rather than 6 to 10 hours or whatever it's taking me now.
I'll have to look it up because it's either an extension in Premiere, so it's integrated, or it's just something that you have to download. It's its own editing thing. But basically, you just put in your 2 long format recording files. So like if you had a 60-minute recording, a 60-minute recording, and then it picks up when the
More
audio
like
pops
180,
up.
bro.
So
remember, we still got 2 beers left.
Yeah. So it picks up when that audio kicks on for each one, and it'll just automatically delete the video file from, or it like cuts and deletes the stuff that you don't want, and it leaves what you do want. And it's all AI, and it works pretty well. I'll look it up. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah. I think it would help, but of course, when I'm editing in iMovie, I have the sound deleted from both of the video sources. Like the only audio that we're using is what's coming through the microphones. So the audio from the cameras, both cameras do have audio files, but they're useless unless a third guest shows up, which has happened. And then I just use the iPhone audio or whatever, which sucks, but it is what it is. And honestly, the wild part is this kind of gets back to what you were talking about with the video gamers not having to be that good.
Yeah.
The only person who's come on who's really listened to every episode is ZRO. The episode will be out soon. And his thing was, his favorite episode was the Basic Sickness episode, which is the one where I had a bunch of audio coming through the iPhone because his buddy Joe showed up randomly through the episode because I was streaming live, and he was like, "Oh shit, everybody's at Isaac's, like, let's do it." And he showed up, and I was doing like whenever he would talk, I would just have to use the iPhone audio, and he loved it, which to me says it's not about quality; it's about content. It's just. It's the content that people are interested in. People tune in when they're hearing something that they relate to or that will help them improve their lives in some way.
Yeah, definitely. And I even in how you have the YouTube videos, but then also have the Spotify, because there was a time where I think I watched the Nugget video. I watched the Nugget video on YouTube, but then I might have listened to the RSK one on Spotify or something.
Yeah.
There was a couple that that I was flip-flopping between, depending on what I was doing. But I think that's cool because then if you're just doing the audio, then it doesn't matter what anything. I mean, like obviously because you do the YouTube as well, but you could just do strictly the Spotify thing and not have to do the whole setup. But for me, because this is stuff I like as well, this is what I would do. I would have it be
the video's on Spotify too.
Oh, really?
So like when I listen to the podcast, the whole plan, the whole idea of this was I stopped listening to music during the pandemic.
Oh,
and
really?
even before, I was just like, number one, I don't really fuck with the music that's being made right now. Like the hip hop to me is kind of sleepy. I can't hear the vocals. For me, it was always about storytelling. Like I like KRS-One. I like Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and Slick Rick and Mos Def and uh, Immortal Technique and
Yeah.
Sanam Silla
Yeah.
and you know, the list Big L, and the list goes on. Like for me, hip hop for me was always about storytelling.
Yeah.
And nowadays I can't tell what the people are saying. I can't understand them, which I actually understand. I've talked about this before on the podcast, and I think it relates to this idea that people want to not have to hear the vocals. They want to hear the rhythm of the vocals without having to use their brains. And
Yeah.
it kind of like mumble rap is probably some kind of de-intellectualization or a escapism from that kind
Yeah, I
of
can see that for
hyper
sure.
focus, and
Yeah.
it's a way of tuning out and being able to listen to the drum. So Wu-Tang says the dumb is mostly intrigued by the drum, but techno and Kevin Saunderson says you have to listen to the same beat for 3 minutes before you understand it.
Yeah. Boots and cats.
Boots and pants, I thought. Who's cats?
Is
You
there
thought it was
just
boots
is there
and
just a
cats?
generational difference? That for you it was boots and pants, and at some point it changed to boots and cats. I've never heard somebody say boots and pants.
Bro, it's 100% pants.
No.
What the fuck are you
No.
talking about?
Boots and cats. What? Boots and cats. Boots and cats. Boots and pants. Pants doesn't work. Boots and
Pants.
boots
Yeah,
and
well,
pants.
maybe cats. The cats is cool because
But
it
it's
has a
n-
little more snare.
But yeah, I don't think you actually just say cats. It's more of
Pants.
that like. Cats.
Yeah, the pants is a little more bass heavy, isn't it? This is actually a really interesting
Yeah. Huh.
conversation because we're getting into how the music changed versus the that is so cool.
Yeah. Boots
Wow.
and cats, boots and pants. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one. We're gonna have to do some research on this.
You guys are just also into cats though. That's weird.
I do like cats. Yeah, a little.
Wait until I have Keebs on. That fucking dude loves
Yeah.
cats so much.
I'm
stoked to have him on.
I for the longest time wasn't a fan of cats, and I think it was because my parents instilled to me to not like them because they're allergic, and for some reason I'm not. So then being around them, I was just like, wow, like it's just like a little fur ball baby that just like wants to chill and sleep and like hang out with me and like I don't know. I love little kitties now. I'm not gonna lie.
Cats are amazing, man. I think, like, personally, I can't wait to have a dog, and it's just going to take a little while until my kid's old enough to
Yeah.
really, like, hold it down.
Yeah.
We've told him, like, wait until you're 5, but lately I've been thinking 6, maybe
Yeah.
7 is...
So my thought process on it was when I have a family, when I have some kids, when I have like a house and I got shit that I need to protect, like then
Right,
a dog is a good deterrent. And
It's
like
fantastic.
it can be protective and it can be a, you know, I don't know. Dogs have that in them that they are like the family.
Release the hounds.
Yeah,
Smithers.
yeah. So you
does
can
he
have
do?
it be the yes. You can have the dog kind of be as your like guard dog situation. So maybe when I have a family and all that and a yard for it, but like right now, just give me like a cat, maybe 2.
They weren't saying they weren't saying boo. They were saying boo earns.
Boo earns. God. Boots and cats. Speaking of Simpsons, do you subscribe to this whole Simpsons or able to tell the future shit?
Well, they've done a lot of episodes. They have 35 seasons now, 34 at least.
So were they just getting lucky that they just have done so many episodes of stuff that they're just nailing it? Because
Yeah, because when you actually look at the videos, it's like not that close. You know, the
Yeah.
one that the most recent one, of course, is related to this submarine
Yeah.
going down, and like
Yeah.
when you watch it, I mean, yeah, like Homer runs out of air. That's true,
Yeah.
but it didn't implode.
True. Yeah. So I think that it's people are stretching. I think people are stretching, trying to connect dots. And then I've also thought like Is that even a real episode in the thing, or did somebody just animate that on the spot to just continue this weird
Whoa.
meme
Whoa.
of like now they're just making it up and furthering this like misinformation almost? And it's not misinformation about anything, 'cause it's not like you're swaying people to make decisions or anything, but it's just like weird. And I don't know. Some of them are like really on point, some of them are stretching, but there's been enough of them that I'm like, what's going on here?
Have you gotten into making memes at all?
Little stuff. It's usually ends up being like DJ promo things, something that it would make people laugh. TikTok was really cool because they have all these like interesting like what are they called?
Shorts?
The filters that you can like you just record yourself, but then it makes everything else happen. Like the one, it was like me in an airplane, like flying through. I don't know, like
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you know what I'm
okay.
talking about? Though?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So like
I have
some
an
of these
idea.
Instagram filters and TikTok filters.
It's like
Um,
AI related, where it kind of takes you to another place, or
it more so like if it just takes my face and puts it on the body of something else, or like silly things
yeah, I
like
love
that.
those.
So then you start to ham it up, and then like I think I'm kind of funny sometimes. So like if you start to like lean into like being goofy, and then you turn it into like a DJ promo post about an event, like that's a cool way to kind of get good content without having to put too much effort in. But man, I don't know how it is with like bar DJs and like gigging DJs, but the electronic music stuff, like I feel like half the battle now is like promo on the internet with like your social media, your TikTok. I mean, even event promoters and like the things that they're doing to get promo out now is it's just like the times have changed a lot in the last couple of years. Um,
The one guy on that's also part of Gold Rush on Wednesdays with Climax
hmm,
is really big on TikTok.
yeah.
It's not Bryce Gordon, it's the other guy.
Okay.
What's his name?
I'm not positive on
I'll
that.
post it up, but
Yeah.
he's like, he posts routines. He just does routines, which
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Is it not ADMC? Is he on Gold Rush? But
oh
that same
no,
kind
but
of
the same
thing.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
doing those
yeah,
short
yeah.
videos.
Yeah. That guy actually brought
Insane.
me on. He was one of the first Pittsburgh DJs to ever bring me out, like bring me on to a show. When both of us were pretty much at the same spot. We were both
Yeah.
doing Moonbatone, and he put me
Okay,
on to
Moomba.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, that was like when my career peaked was 2010, 2011, like in Pittsburgh. I was living
Yeah.
here. I was living underneath 5801, which is the gay bar in on Maryland Ave in Shady Side.
Hmm. I don't know.
Ellsworth,
I don't
Ellsworth
know.
Ave, Shady Side,
I do know Ellsworth.
5801
Yeah, yeah.
Ellsworth or 5801 Maryland, whatever it is. It is next door to the Harris Grill, which is no longer there, which had the amazing brunch with the Bloody Mary bar
Okay.
and
I
the
know Ellsworth. I don't know if I know
yep.
what venue you're talking
Spin
about. I
used to
might
be
not have been
there, and
around
then
for any of that too.
well, where were you? Because we didn't get into that at all. Like, where did you grow up, and like what was school for you,
Yeah,
and
I
kind of
grew up in Murraysville. Then went to IUP for 2 years, very short run. It
that's
was
Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
yes.
So Indiana is south.
Indiana would be kind of east and maybe a little bit north-ish, but just it's like 45 minutes east of Murraysville. So
Eastern North.
yeah, you're
Okay.
heading more into the state.
Yeah.
Cool little town. My dad's family grew up there. But yeah, I was there for like a year and a half maybe, and like I did good in my art classes, but if it wasn't like an art focused class, I was just like,
Why'd you go
fuck.
to college?
Exactly. Why? I don't know. That's like the question that I am now and have been asking myself. Was that I think it was more of a this is what I thought I should be doing situation. I didn't want to do something that I didn't like, so then I went with the art route. But then as soon as I got there and like realized what I was doing, I was like, how am I gonna make money doing this? And then I was like, I don't think that physical art is going to be as feasible as a digital art route. So then that's when I started to look at the camera situation of like, how do I still stay in an artistic career path choice, but keep with the times, go digital, work with mediums that I can do remotely and like email somebody something. Um, and that seemed to be a good idea. it's working out okay. uh,
Were there good mentors at IUP? Like, do they have a cool art program there? Or
They do actually have a really good art program. I don't know if I got the good art teachers that are in that program. A couple of them I did not like as much because they were very forcible with their teachings of art, which I think is just too fluid of a thing to kind of like set down like set in stone rules. But I will say the one class that I really enjoyed and learned something that I use almost every day. Um, it was a three-dimensional art class, but on like day one or two, they were just like, all right, so like we're gonna learn how to brainstorm. And I was like, this is cool. Like, so they showed us on the board. It was like you start with like your main idea or objective and you like circle it. And then you just kind of like broaden, or I guess you would kind of get more focused and you just write like four things that kind of make that happen or that are generally about that. And then you just keep breaking it down farther and farther with like these sprouting off like ideas and kind of pathways. And the whole point was that like as you're doing this, each one like kind of feeds off of the next one and it just gives you more and more ideas. And it's just a good way to get it onto paper and look at it. And then you can kind of like zoom out and just like see everything that you're working with. And then you're like, this one was good, this one's bad, this one's good, this one's bad. And when I'm coming up with like event stuff or like doing this whole one-stop shop idea, like there was a lot of ideas and planning that got churned around and how to make that happen. And yeah, it's just a really good way to organize thoughts. And that's like a really important part of like any planning process, getting your ideas onto paper and organizing them and coming up with a short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan. Um, if you don't have a long-term plan, then like it's tough to come up with mid-term goals. And if you don't have mid-term goals, then like you are just existing, kind of winging it, going through like your short-term stuff. So like I have ideas for my midterm and I have ideas for my long-term stuff, but like I can't get to any of those without completing my short-term shit. So
I have two projects that I'm working on and like long term goals for art. The first one is related to music festivals.
okay.
And the idea is to have a converted bus,
Mhm.
which can operate as an intermediary in the both virtual and physical space.
Okay.
So it would be a yoga studio at music at like music festivals. It would also have a kitchen, so a place where I can have my meat and fruit pop up,
Yeah.
like at music festivals, where I'm serving meals which are what I consider to be healthy, which
Yeah.
is ribeye and papaya,
Yeah.
chicken thigh and mango, um, and tuna steak with pineapple or whatever,
Mm.
and then have everything be filmed so that people who aren't able to be physically there at the yoga class or the
Mm.
whatever the event is can be there in like the web space, Web3 space,
Yeah.
whatever. The other idea, and so just take it like around. Have you could like sell merch if that was your thing. You could have DJs there, like have
Yeah.
like after parties there for um, in the parking lot or wherever I was posted up.
Yeah.
RV lot, I guess. Then the second idea would be um, like a party in Pittsburgh, probably, or wherever I am, which is clearly not at this venue, but it would be something that I would rent out, probably an apartment or a house somewhere in the East End. I'm thinking, um, probably Bloomfield, Friendship, um, the East End, like East
Yeah.
Liberty,
Yeah. Bloomfield's
Lawrenceville.
great. I like
Yep.
Bloomfield. That's where I used to live.
Yeah, yeah, or Garfield, like
Mhm.
and have a space where people can come together for an art focused event. And the idea would be strictly a membership type event. So you'd have to have a ticket to show up. Like you'd
Yeah.
have to be on a list or like be admitted. But I really like the idea of Web3 being the center or the core. And so I'm still flushing this idea out, but I'm meeting with Wade, um, Anthony this
Mhm.
week, this next coming week, to talk about how it would work exactly in the Web3 space, whether people would have to have a NFT to show up, like you'd have to be a member of Kaiju Kings or whatever, like
Yeah.
type of deal, or you could just pay like a entry fee or membership fee of 0.1 ETH or 0.01 ETH or whatever we decide.
Yeah.
Um, and just have like the event be extremely hype, where it was, you know, no money at all. So absolutely no money involved. Once you walk in the door, everything is completely taken care of. All of the drinks, all of the food, every single thing that's like flying in DJs from out of state, always like
Yeah.
bringing in, $5,000 DJs, like
Yeah.
people that can really, really entertain, but without any kind of traditional marketing or traditional kind of um uh like ways of bringing people to the event.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a kind of almost like a membership status kind of event.
Yep. Like the Loft, like David Mancuso. That's where my inspiration comes from.
Okay.
Is from the birth of house music, the birth
Okay.
of electronic music in America.
Yeah.
Is New York, the Loft, David Mancuso. Like that's what I want.
So when you were talking about the online kind of Web3 space aspect of it, I just kept reverting back to you should do this on Twitch, but then that takes away kind of it's like a double-edged sword. You take away at that point the exclusivity of like having that NFT membership situation, because I do think that's really cool. I have an NFT in it's Wookie's NFT collection. I've had this thing for like 2 years now, 3 years, and very cool. The project was called Wobblebug, and basically you buy your NFT, and they do a lot of community stuff, but like I just use it to kind of go into the Discord, and then he has a section that's like Wookie's goodies, which are like all of his edits, all of his
Oh,
stuff,
shit.
everything that he
Dope.
doesn't post online, and
Yep.
it's like the HD downloads coming straight from him. So like that is a cool membership thing. I've almost bought the bullet on Patreon a couple of times for people, but I don't see the same kind of upkeep with it. Unless somebody's like really going hard on Patreon and making it worth it, it tends to be somebody's like, "Hey, I made a Patreon. I've got like one thing in it. Like, give me $25 a month, dog, and I promise that I'll like give you more." And it's like,
That's
if I don't see the back catalog, if I haven't been seeing you consistently over 6 months, say like you're constantly putting stuff out on Patreon, I can't eat another $25 subscription for something.
that's how I'm feeling about the
Yeah.
Twitch subscriptions though.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
got fucked on those. I'm not going to
Yeah.
name names right now because I
Yeah.
love both of the people that I just recently subscribed to.
Mhm.
Literally like brothers. Like I love both of them.
Yeah.
But I signed up for their pages. I paid a bunch of money like 6 months in advance.
Oh, you did the big boy purchases.
I was all like in,
Yeah.
these are my brothers. I was super
Yeah.
stoked, and then I just haven't seen them streaming lately. Like it feels like maybe they took my money and ran. Like now they're just
Uh,
off the map, off
I
the grid.
mean, it is kind of. I know for me, so there's times where I am hitting it hard and times that I'm not because I'm busy with other things. Now, if somebody's a full-time streamer and that's their job, then like hell yeah, they should be on every day for, at least a couple of hours a day to give people that money's worth. But for me, like I said, I'm just kind of justifying my fun time, and I don't keep a real schedule with it. I should. And I think that later in life, or maybe just once I get through this like crazy busy time, it's just summertime with a lot of events and traveling. It's just been tough recently. Um, but there's times of the year where I'm definitely like in more of a set schedule with it. So yeah, that kind of thing. I wouldn't have paid 6 months in advance. A little $3 or $5 subscription for the month I could get, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't do the pay in advance because of something like that. You don't know. The kid's computer could blow up and he's never on again. I don't know. um, but yeah, that's a tough game. But yeah, so I would say, as far as what you were talking about, you could do the subscription, do the Web3 and NFT kind of like thing, or you start just putting it all out there for the public on Twitch, and then you present that idea of a more exclusive. Um, you get more if you do the whatever the buy-in would be.
Yeah, the tiers are very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely like this kind of, you know, staged membership. I think that
Mm.
that's people definitely relate to that. They want to feel like they can get into VIP, right?
Yeah.
It's like
People love VIP. Yeah.
what are the games that you're playing on Twitch?
Um. I have times where I really enjoy just like playing solo, single player stuff. Really good storytelling games. Elder Scrolls, Skyrim was a really big one in my life.
I couldn't get out of the first like area.
Really,
There was this big angry dude who kept on just fucking me up.
yeah,
Pop, pop,
yeah.
pop, pop. He was riding on a horse, and I was just walking.
Oh, well, wait, you might be thinking of Elden Ring,
Yeah.
which has also been a fun one.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Elder Scrolls was a different series.
Elden Ring and Elden Scrolls, two different.
Two different,
Okay.
kind of similar. That there's
Yeah.
like
You know the one I'm
swords
talking
and-
about. I was up
Yeah, I
on
know.
top of
Yeah,
joint.
yeah.
I was
Yeah, the big dude,
recharging at
yeah.
a little like joint.
You
and
just
then
gotta avoid that motherfucker.
Just keep going?
Avoid him.
yeah.
Get out into the.
But even out in the periphery, I was fucked.
Yeah, that game's tough. Elden Ring was my first Dark Souls game, which is that style of like you're just gonna keep dying over and
Yeah.
over again,
Yeah.
which was cool. And once you get past that first like learning curve, it can be fun. But I prefer enjoying the games I'm playing. So I've had my time with it, but I'm like not that pressed to get back into it as much because it's just like it's frustrating. If I only have a couple of hours to have fun, I want to have fun in those hours, not get more angry.
Right. Right. So
So-
what have those games been?
Yeah, so Elder Scrolls was a really big one. I really liked the Horizon Zero Dawn series. I play a lot of Halo, so it's pretty much either solo single player games or like competitive shooters. So I played sports when I was younger. I love that like camaraderie, kind of team building, and like being able to rely. I was a lineman, so like very much so like being able to rely on the next person right next to you and him being able to rely on you. So that kind of transfers into like gaming in a sense. When you're playing these competitive shooter games, it's like I need to know that my boy is going to cover my back and that he knows that I'm going to cover his. And I don't know. I don't really like play physical sports as much anymore, if ever. So it's like I don't get that kind of like team camaraderie in the moment, like sports sensation. We have that sense in like teams with like doing work, like media stuff, working with a photo team and all that, but it's not the same.
So the Halo is Xbox?
Halo's Xbox.
Do you have to have like a special connection in order to play online and also stream, or how do you do it? You just like plug, you have what's the technical setup?
So very similar to all of this. You've got your mic going into your. So I have a gaming PC, a streaming laptop. Well, I guess it's a gaming laptop, but I use it just strictly as my streaming laptop. And then my Xbox. The gaming PC and the Xbox go into a wire splitter. The wire splitter goes into a capture card. So at the wire splitter, I could switch it from I want you to record the computer or I want you to record the Xbox. All of that then goes into the streaming PC. So pretty much just pick which one I want to play, switch it to the right setting, and then hit record or go live. And it's just game time at that point. Sometimes I have a bunch of people in there, and by a bunch, I mean like 3. I mean, that's pretty cool for me. But most of the time, it's just like me and somebody will pop in and here and there, and I'll get like 45 cents from like the ad revenue, and I'm like, thanks. But I talk with people, and that's the cool part because otherwise I'd just be sitting there by myself.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough. I mean, I've definitely been impressed with the people who can turn it into a career, right? I mean, a lot of it was during the pandemic.
yeah,
I think people like Selecta and Bus Crates were the kind of big ones where they were
yeah,
able to pivot
yeah,
from DJing publicly for 500 people a night
yeah,
to playing on Twitch for 500 people a night, and the revenue was comparable or better.
yeah,
And I think the things, I often ask myself, what is it about those people that have made it, successful
yeah,
that allowed them to succeed? I think for Selecta, he always hypes on engagement. Like it's just about providing something for the people that makes them feel like they're part of a community. So he has like a lot of incentives where people can, hit a button and he'll have to play the rest of the song out.
yeah,
He won't change it early, like let it ride or whatever. Or if you spend enough time in his stream, you can gain enough points that you can request a song.
yeah,
If you if you subscribe, then you can use the certain type of emotes,
mhm,
the yes my mellow and
yeah.
the whatever else. So I don't know. Is it like, do you see this as a long term thing, or this is just because you're rocking? You're going to be gaming anyway. You might as well catch a couple hundred.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both. I do think that, so I don't know. So when the pandemic happened, I do think out of like a lot of the stuff that I've done, which some of it is pretty cool, but like this was one that I hold up there on like my personal level of like, I was really happy about this one. The pandemic happened, and like obviously that completely destroyed all of the music industry. That was
In
tough.
Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, and that was tough. So being such a small, tight knit electronic music community, I was like, okay, like what can we do? Like, what are our options? It's time to like sit down and just think outside of the box. And basically, I was like, we can do a couple of things, but I think that one thing would be really cool. I had seen a couple of folks do these like DJ streams, and I was like, okay, so what if we did that, but on like a much bigger scale? And it was like, okay, instead of doing like one event that would be like a 5 hour event on one Twitch channel, if I market it as an online music festival and I get you to organize and host your own stage on your Twitch channel. And then I have this guy organize and promote his own stage on his channel. And then we take 15 of those people. So we have 15 different stages, and each stage is a different genre of music, different artists, different parts of the country. It went, I mean, it was just up into Canada, but it went international in the sense it wasn't just a bunch of Americans. So getting like people from all over to be involved in this, it was an awesome experience to put something like that together. And it was like, I don't know what the total number of DJs was on it, but I want to say it had to have been at least 80 DJs, maybe upwards of 100. I'd have to look back at it, but
This was your concoction.
this was me sitting in my living room, smoking weed, coming up with a really crazy idea, and then making it happen because we were in the pandemic and there was nothing to do.
Why didn't you run it back? That sounds amazing.
Well, yeah, so we definitely could. I do think that it is something that I want to do on an even bigger and better scale with maybe more established promotional companies. Not that I had any issue with, like, it was all levels. It
or
was
maybe just a physical one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have
I
you
mean,
thought about it?
taking it to that level. You got to have some money backing something big like that, or at least the ideas that I would have for it. It would take like some legit sponsorship possibly. I pitched it to Sheets. I don't know. It was just over Twitter, but I was like, "Hey,
Nice.
let's do an event." And,
Sheets to the wind. 3 sheets to the
yeah,
wind.
yeah.
Fest.
So yeah, I mean,
Sheets faced.
Sheets faced would be good. Yeah, well, I'll give him a pitch deck.
I can keep going. It's
yeah.
just let me know.
So yeah, it would be cool to do something on like a regular full scale thing, and that is kind of where some of my friends are now gravitating towards. I guess, take this opportunity to just talk about some of the people that are doing some stuff like that. I'm not 100% on the date, so I don't want to just throw out a date out there. But Ambient Alchemists are doing a Southside State Fair. All kinds of different DJs, all kinds of different genres. They're linked up and collaborating with Vellum Brewery. I don't know if you know them. I didn't know them, but I'm about to go check out the venue, so that's going to be a really cool experience and seeing kind of what the space looks like. I've seen a couple of snippets. It looks like a really big area, and breweries are great. Got a lot of beer for pretty cheap and usually really good food.
Yeah. Trace has been killing it here.
Yeah, so
You've
yeah,
been watching what they've been up to,
Yeah,
Slappers
yeah.
and Bangers on Sunday, and
yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a great location, right? They're right at the bottom of the Bloomfield Bridge. Like you
Yeah.
can't beat that.
So those are the kind of little venues that I think are going to start to really take hold of at least the electronic community. I don't know if if you're a club DJ playing Cavo, you're not really out looking for little breweries to go play at. But like for us, it's like
Yeah.
we need places that are willing to have us. We just have this like unfortunate bad rap, I guess. People are just like EDM, raves, drugs, screw these little hippies, like whatever.
We used to have the Irish Center. Do you remember that?
So I came in right after the Irish Center and right after the Coliseum, and
Yeah.
everybody always asked me about the two, and I was like, we must have just been passing each other because like,
Are there raves now? Are there any venues for raves now? Or
yeah, there's definitely like ravey stuff. I would say that I would say anything that I work at would be what I would consider more of into an event classification. Raves, I say there are definitely raves that are happening at the Elks Lodge. Some smaller stuff, some outer lying cities, kind of smaller events. They're happening.
what makes something a rave? I always used to think about it as something like a venue with no alcohol. Like so it could be all ages.
Yeah, I think that would more get umbrellaed under just like sketchier venues. Maybe not sketchy is the right way to say it, but like not like full blown bar stuff. So like the Elks Lodge has a bar downstairs, but that venue is a little bit rough, but that's what makes it fun. When I'm going there, I know what I'm getting into. I'm gonna have a good time. Not everybody has a good time because they weren't ready for that. I'm ready for that. I want that sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. So like the ravier venues, I would say, are dark and smoking and like.
What do you think people want to hear right now in the EDM community? Is it more D&B? A lot of my guests, like RSK, have been hyping like now it's all drum and bass.
Yeah, so there's definitely a big drum and bass community. There's a couple of promotional companies that are just focusing on drum and bass, and then that breeds a healthy community of people. I know that Uprise Entertainment, my two buddies, Anthony and Nick, they just got a big boy Void sound system, and they've been primarily doing drum and bass shows. They're a great company to look out for. Drum and Business is a drum and bass company. 1337 has been around for a long time. You know, Justin Dover Spike.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
Of course. That's like in the rave community. That's
Yeah,
definitely a name
yeah,
you have to
so-
know.
Dover Spike's been doing this for a really long time, and you know he's helped out a lot of people. And you know, somebody like that, been around for long enough to know the ins and outs of everything, but also staying hip to what's going on, because it's easy to get stuck in your ways, and that's whenever. Not that like problems arise, but like you got to keep with the times of things. So yeah, Dove has been great with that, and they're doing a drum and bass event. It either like just happened or it's about to happen. I'm sorry, I like don't want to give like definite dates because
Yeah.
I don't want to say the wrong date. So like you just gotta look it up.
Yeah, who knows when I'm gonna get this edited?
Well, yeah. So then that's the other thing.
Unless I hire your company to bang it out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that is. I mean, we can talk about
Good
that.
luck, good
Yeah,
luck.
we can talk about that. Yeah. So, yeah.
DJ Spade is the other one who's been I've been a fan of on Twitch.
Okay.
Who's like a Pittsburgh DJ who
From
plays drum and
Pittsburgh.
bass.
Okay, Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to,
Spaed.
yeah, I'll have to
Amazing.
check that out.
Love his
Yeah,
Twitch stream.
I don't know if I've ever heard of Spade, especially not doing electronic music or drum and bass.
Amazing Twitch stream. Got to check him out. Do you
Yeah.
know the Tuesday night show? It was called like um Two Step Garage or something like that, or like
Two Step Tuesdays?
Two Step Tuesdays.
Yeah. Yeah, down at Tiki Lounge.
Well, I don't know where it is now,
Wait, is
but
it
when I played it, it was somewhere in the South Side, I think.
okay, yeah, it was probably Tiki Lounge. They had been at Tiki Lounge for the longest time. Then they brought it out to Bloomfield at the Bridge, which is a
Yep.
nice venue.
Yeah, I like the Bridge.
Yeah, cool venue, great. But it was the fact that like Two Step Tuesdays at Tiki Lounge had just become like, it can't just be Two Step Tuesdays anywhere else. It's like they're too intertwined now. It's been so long that it's been a Tiki Lounge that like doing Two Step Tuesdays at the Bridge just wasn't the same. So it didn't really have anything to do with like that things weren't going well at the Bridge, but it was just like it had to be a Two Step Tuesdays at Tiki kind of situation. And they had acquired a Tuesday night walk-in crowd.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was also a drum and bass night at Bloomfield Bridge Tavern, which doesn't exist anymore, which was totally legendary, which I loved. Which is worth mentioning.
Yeah, I hear about a lot of the older venues, and it's always crazy stories, and I'm like, that sounds awesome, and I wish that I would have been around for it.
The other one worth mentioning is Laser Crunk, which is like Cut Ups and Keeves are still rocking that. So we have to talk about them.
Yeah,
because they're killing it.
Shout out to Cut Ups and Keeves. I was at the 15-year anniversary.
Me too.
Yeah, were you?
I probably saw you, but I didn't know you.
It's
yet.
okay. Yeah,
that's cool. Did you take pictures?
No, I didn't, because I think that I have decided, and I'm sorry, Keebs, if you ever want me to work for you, I guess I can. But I've like pretty much decided that that's my event, to not have my camera.
Oh yeah.
I just go and have fun.
You just hang out.
And I just have a good time. And that was something that, being so frequently out at these events and stuff, like I had to stop going to events if I wasn't working them, and now I'm very choosy about going to stuff when I'm not working. I know I'm gonna have a good time there. I could not know that DJ or artist at all, and I know it's gonna be fire.
100%. Yeah, they have such good taste.
Yeah, so, and that's pretty much like it's at this point where I just see the ticket link go up, and I'm like, yep. Buy two, we'll figure out if somebody's coming with me or not, and then just like send it. And that's the kind of stuff that I feel like a lot of promoters need to be gravitating towards. You don't always need to have some major name that's going to sell tickets. You can curate the vibe and spend like a third of the price on a DJ that is like, if you do your research, you know that they're going to be good.
Swipe these to the, swipe it this way. Is that your left? And you'll see how bad my film photos turned out.
These are on film?
Of
Is this in Brillo box?
Yeah. Those are my shots. I only took 3 photos.
Oh wait, is this of?
That's the most recent one. The night.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
You said film. I was like, are these old? Nice. No, those look good.
No, they're fucking terrible. They're so bad that I didn't even save any of them on my phone. I just pulled these up from the WeTransfer link because they were that bad. Yeah. But that's the lesson I've learned from film photography is like, you don't know what you're gonna fucking get, and it's a mess. Yeah, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. I
as long as you're not being paid.
Yeah, that's where I would start to like. It would be a fun and cool thing, but I don't think I could rely on it because there's just too many variables and like shit that could just go wrong with the film. I took one of my film cameras to Forest like 6 years ago or something, and like I don't know what I was thinking. I was like really drunk and just like forgot that you can't expose film to light. It just like opened that bitch up in the middle of like everything.
Film and LSD have the same rules.
Yeah, so it was pretty much. I don't know what I was thinking. I just ripped it open.
Wow.
Because I thought that it was like stuck.
Any good pictures that you lost?
I don't think I ever developed it, which I should.
No, but like you knew. Were they going to be incredible?
Probably not. but I want to. If I was drunk enough to forget that film couldn't be exposed to light, I'm not confident in the content.
The one thing that the Sony camera fucked up on me when I was trying to use the manual setting. Remember, I was talking about how the manual setting wouldn't let me
Yeah.
rock. Was doing the like light painting where like with flash photography where I would hit like a regular photo and then kind of turn the camera real quick to give a little circle of light or something like that, tracers or DJ lights or whatever. Like it wouldn't let me increase the exposure time. Is that what I'm talking about? Yes. Like I want to do, I don't know what, 0.4 seconds, like a 25th of it, like like a half a second or so, 0.25, 0.4 seconds, something like that.
So I do that effect, but not with. Actually, I do with that camera. It has a pop-up flash. I can use a flash on that. I don't use a flash on my A7R2 because of the full frame and low. It's not the best with low light, but it's significantly better than my other one. I just try to not use a flash at all. For the most part, it works, but I do run into problems. That's where I want to have the team where somebody else has a flash, and then I don't have to worry about it.
What about with video? Are you using lighting? Do you have to have external lighting for videos?
No, so my lens is a 1.8. I would like to upgrade into like a 1.2 f-stop. I think that would be beneficial for sure. If I do upgrade to the A7S III, then the low light on that is phenomenal as well. So if I pair that new body with a new lens, I think I can handle most low light situations.
What would be the ideal lens for that type of photography? Like,
I've been rocking a nifty 50, and unless I was at Stage AE or potentially some outdoor venue, it's rare that I need more girth than that. Like I can get as much as I need into the frame. With this camera specifically, you can do a crop sensor APS-C mode that zooms it in a little bit. So if I needed more focal length, I can. But yeah, I rock my 50 mil for like pretty much everything. I do have a 24 that I like, but it's a manual focus. So then I would prefer to only use that for video and like very set up shots. None of my lenses are great, which is a shame because you can get farther with a good lens and like an okay body than the opposite.
Guys, I feel that. Yeah.
Like I could.
The glass is where it's at.
Yeah, you can take like an okay camera body, but if you have a phenomenal lens, it's going to look better than if you try and take a great camera body and use a not great lens. So that's one of the things on my giant list of shit I need to buy and can't afford at all.
Breaking the law.
Yeah.
Breaking the law.
Yeah, we're gonna be breaking the law.
Let's wrap it.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was very cool. Thank you, Isaac. Yeah, this was really awesome. So I did want to kind of run through a couple of people to check out and everything. Yeah. So big cheese people that I would, if you want to get more accustomed to the electronic music industry in Pittsburgh, Rush Promo and Long-Term Music are, I would say, my two biggest clients. They're definitely doing the damn thing. Ambient Alchemists are right there. They are doing a lot of cool stuff that is thinking outside the box, not just in the electronic world, but meshing this kind of, not quite rock, but meshing live instrument-based electronic music into things. Definitely working at the right venues. They're the ones hosting that Southside State Fair. Stay on top of that. I'll get a link for that because that's a big one. I think everybody should know about that.
Southside State Fair.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Dissolve is another kind of techno company. 1337, they've been around for a long time. Uprise Entertainment, they're going to be doing a lot of drum and bass shows. Drum and Business has a really big event with Phoebes, who is a UK, a lot of heavy remixes, kind of drum and bass, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, any of the events at the Goldmark are going to be great. I feel like I could keep going. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just keep an eye out and just like look for flyers and follow people on social medias because you got to stay up to date with everything. It's happening. You just got to kind of find it. The underground scene is alive. It's just not in the mainstream. That's the whole point. So
There was this amazing website that I think Keebs or no. It was Jeff Cut-Ups put me on to,
yeah,
which is like just underground shows in Pittsburgh.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, the Laser Crunk event series, Cut Ups and Keebs are obviously been doing this for 15 years, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah. But this is like a really old school website. It still exists. There's current events on it. I wish I could say the name of it. I'll look it up and post it in the on the video. But
The only thing I've ever
crazy.
heard of like that would be like Lolly, but I don't know if that's even around
Oh
anymore.
shit! I can't. I remember
That's-
Lolly, dude.
yeah.
That's sick. You mentioned that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's some real rave stuff.
Yes, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that brings me back to like the days of texting in order to get the address. and, having
One
having
of
to
the
call someone in order to find out where something was.
one of the coolest experiences. This was like probably 2013. Got invited to go to this giant party, and I think Facebook was around at Facebook was around at this point because I somehow found the phone number to call. I don't know how or what I got, but I found the phone number. You call it, and it's just a voicemail, and it just says an address, and then hung up. And I was like, "What?"
Yep.
I called up my
Yep.
buddies. I was like, "Pack your bags, we're going." Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Where was the rave? Wait, tell the story of the rave. I'm gonna go take a piss. We're gonna keep this thing going.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna do all 6 beers. Let's go.
Oh man, yeah, we'll rock another one there. Oh man, okay, so that story. Okay, so this would have been the Ross Morgan Rager. A little confusing because my last name's Ross, but definitely not involved with it at all. But the Ross Morgan Rager was a really interesting early on viral event situation that it was a high school kid that wanted to throw a party. He then promoted it to the point that like the whole community in his town knew about it. It ended up on the news, and then we were all just in high school, so this was like so cool to us. And basically through Facebook we got that phone number, and it just had an address, and you called it, they told you the address, they just hung up, and it was just like go time. And we were on our way to it. Oh, Sean 216 was supposed to DJ it. This is another part of the story because he told me about this later in life, which I think is hilarious. Sean 216 was supposed to DJ that event. And yeah, it was the Ross Morgan Rager. You can look it up. It was on the news. Isaac went downstairs, so I don't really know what to talk about now. Oh, let me just plug some more shit. Yeah, Rush Promo, Longterm, Ambient Alchemist, 1337, Uprise, Dissolve. Arakusa has been doing, I'm actually going to this event after this a little bit later. Arakusa's been doing Elixir at Remedy, which is a very cool play on words. It's a multi-genre event, I believe, and that's a really cool venue. I used to do events at Remedy, and it's like a little bit of speakeasy style. You ever been to Remedy?
Of course, I've been to Remedy.
So that is, I used to do a handful of different events there, and that is one of my favorite venues in the city because of just how low-key, a little bit rough around the edges, but like in the best way possible. Like it's like definitely like the bathrooms all graffitied and like markered up, and like there's stickers everywhere.
Where is it again?
Lawrenceville. This is next to New Amsterdam.
Yeah. New Am is next door to Goldmark, and then you're saying
Wait, no. Okay, so then
it's not there.
no, it's not. I was thinking of Goldmark.
What happened to the Rex?
So the Rex now.
It's now it's now
Oh yeah,
it's
so
a club now,
yeah,
right?
now it's the Enclave. I don't.
Yeah.
I thought you were asking me like what was the actual dissolvement of it. I don't know
Yeah,
what
that's what
I
I'm
don't
trying
know
to
what
figure out.
happened 100% that it had to stop. I think what happened was during the pandemic, whoever the random ass woman that owns this building, doesn't live in Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania, doesn't know anything about this place, is just a landlord.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, they were like, hey, like, we're a music venue and the pandemic just shut down like all music events. Can we get some help? Like, can you put things on pause? Can you give us like a half off discount? Like, we don't want to leave this spot. We've been here for however many years.
Totally.
And she was just like, fuck no. Like, yeah, it came down to like this lady was just like, no, give me my money. And yeah, so like completely insensitive to the complete culture shock that was that pandemic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess essentially she just like didn't cut them a break and didn't help them out at all. And like I get it.
Yeah.
You're renting a place on East Carson Street and like it's a large building. So I don't know.
Where like what's the technical setup for Clout Fits? So what do you two do? Do you run 2 records back to back, or how is the actual show run? Do you do any video? Like, are you doing any visuals or kind of like, are there any like, tell me about what to expect.
Yeah. So this will be cool. It's a so Chris Mays, he's a tech house, techno, house music, all of the above genre producer and DJ. He does weddings and things. Like, he's talented. He knows what he's doing. And then me coming from like my side of it, dubstep, bassier music. I don't necessarily like screechy, scary kind of stuff. Like, I like heavy, like I love heavy music, but in the right range that it doesn't hurt people's ears. That if you walked up to it, you would go like, ooh, instead of being like, what the fuck, and then like having to run away.
Yeah.
So it works pretty well. It gives him an opportunity to play music that he doesn't really get to. And then I also try and play more of kind of like bass house year music and that 130 range of like faster house music. So like that's why I said speed house. It's like this weird 130 range of house.
I thought house was 130. You think 128?
I would say generally most house would be 128. A lot of the like more melodic and techno-y kind of thing. Well, no,
like
there's more melodic house that's down into that 126. When you get more into a lounge venue, sometimes I think Goldmark can borderline be in that lounge kind of space where it would be 126 stuff. You start getting into that 130, then I'm starting to like lift my fist up a little bit higher and I start to pump it a little bit more.
Okay.
But then techno nowadays, techno is like 140, 150 sometimes. I'm like, that's a lot.
For the people who are listening who aren't DJs, Billie Jean would be like 126.
I don't know. Yeah. So once you get down into that,
something like that,
I feel like you're in
a
slower realm of. Now I want to look up what Billie Jean's BPM is.
Shit.
We'll do this quick.
Jamie,
will you look it up?
I think 126. What else? What else could I give it as a good example of like a 130 record?
Billie Jean is 125.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a long time, Zach.
Yeah, you got a good.
I've been doing this for a long time, Zach. I used to be really good at it, where I could hear like any song and just tell you the tempo. This comes into medicine too for all my traditional medicinal listeners, because they give you music to sing in your head while you're resuscitating someone.
Really?
For example, when you're doing chest compressions, you're supposed to sing in your head. Staying alive, staying alive.
You see the Office episode? Yeah, that's. I was like, please sing it, please sing it.
You hit the perfect harmony there. Hey. The movie really changed my life in a lot of ways. It's an incredibly violent movie. A lot of people don't realize, they think it's all just dancing and the Bee Gees. And
Billie Jean, the movie?
We're not talking about Billie Jean anymore, man. This is now Saturday Night Live, where we've moved on. Yeah. So the movie has this scene where, so first of all, there's drug use, there's explicit language, and then there's also a really intense suicide scene where there's like, I guess his buddy jumps off the Brooklyn Bridge and kills himself.
Wow.
And people don't think about, like, people don't remember any of that stuff. They just remember the dance moves.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saturday Night Fever was intense. The soundtrack, of course, went like multi-platinum and changed everything. It was also the end of disco in a lot of ways. So disco was cool because it was underground in the 70s, but once the 80s hit, it was no longer cool. 79. So Saturday Night Fever, I think, was 79, and 1980 disco was no longer cool. It was over. The Studio 54 had closed. The Donna Summers and fuck, I can't remember his name, but he's connected with Daft Punk. He was on their latest album, Random Access Memories. What was the name of that producer who did Donna Summer's hit, I Feel Love? He's like
one of the two Daft Punk guys?
No.
Oh.
He was featured on the Random Access Memories as an artist, and he was like very. I mean, he's just unbelievable talent. European guy who produced I Feel Love. He's the synth guy on I Feel Love. But anyway, it's fucking ridiculous. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
It's
not sure at all.
Giorgio Moroder was his name, Moroder. But yeah, he had stopped making disco. Like, disco was over. It was completely dead. There were these two like events, which a lot of people consider to be very, very homophobic and talk about frequently in terms of the culture, which were Disco Demolition Night. Have you heard about this?
There were disco events that were homophobic?
Yeah. The opposite, right? It was Disco Demolition Night. So it didn't have anything to do with disco, other than that people would bring disco records into the baseball stadium in Chicago, set them down in the middle of the baseball field, and
it makes way more sense.
Yeah. People call it, people talk about it as being like this big homophobic thing.
That makes a lot more sense.
Because it was like this whole disco sucks. We want our rock and roll back.
Yeah.
We want the sound of white.
Yeah, fuck those dudes, man. Yeah. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They probably smell like cheese. Those guys.
Yeah, no, it was definitely whack. It was definitely super whack. But Disco Demolition Night was I mean, the photos and like the videos are just insane. The Cubs, or I can't remember. I think it was the White Sox, because it had to have been the White Sox. They had to forfeit the second game of the doubleheader
because of that,
because they blew up so many records in the middle of the field at halftime that they couldn't play the second game. They had destroyed the field.
Yeah, that's pretty insane behavior, honestly.
Yeah, music is culture. Our culture is musical. And right now, I wonder, what is the sound of 2023? Like,
well, so what you were just talking about, the disco, I almost said it a couple of times, but I almost wanted to be like, well, disco's back, baby. Like, I gotta be honest, like, I mean, even in Pittsburgh, Jared Tebbets does disco or spaghetti disco.
Yeah.
Serves bowls of spaghetti at a disco dance music event. It's fucking awesome, dude.
I want in.
So yeah, that's another person. I knew there were so many people and companies I was forgetting. Jared Tebbets does really great stuff, dude. Check, I mean, you know him, but whoever doesn't, check Jared Tebbets out.
I don't really know
Spaghetti
Jared.
Disco.
Yeah, that's dope.
He's great, man. He just opened up at the Longterm event this past weekend, and he does really good stuff. He does wholesome events, good venues.
Deanie Daddy is like plays disco, and he plays all vinyl. I have a great vinyl, or sorry, I have a great film photo of me and him, which I did post recently, and then you're right. Like, there's a lot of pop music right now, which sounds like disco to me. So, for example, Doja Cat has a song called "Kiss Me More." Can you kiss me more? And
Yeah,
long, boy, I
yeah.
don't know what to do. Oh,
Almost with
ho,
that same
what
cadence.
too typical. And I love that record. I think it's fantastic. And then Dua
Dun,
Lipa had a
dun, na,
couple
na,
records.
dun, na, na, dun. What's that song? Dun, dun, na, na. It's an old disco song.
Yeah, I'm sure they ripped it off. And then
Yeah.
Dua Lipa has, I mean, a few, but the one with Baby, of course, is
Mhm.
like it's just a disco record,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, it's making its way. It's making its way back into the mainstream in a sense. But even beyond what you hear on the radio or what like club DJs were looking for, I mean, there's remixes now. I mean, it's mostly what I would say in the house and tech house and these subgenres of house music niches that you're getting these really cool remixes and samples that are definitely probably not cleared at all. And like I find all my music on SoundCloud. As much as like I get Spotify and like it is a cool app and everything, like if it's being distributed to major publications, then like I might not want it.
Wow.
I mean,
What about Bandcamp?
Bandcamp, I do find stuff in, but it's always I find the song on SoundCloud, and then that person has just gotten to a point where they want money for their music. So
Yeah.
I like Bandcamp and Beatport to buy songs if I can't just download it for free. But like I would say, a solid 85% of my music is all just free downloads off SoundCloud, and those motherfuckers have like 800 followers, and the song has like 500 plays. And I can guarantee that when I play it, people are gonna be like, "What is this?" Because I had to look for it. It wasn't like I went into the Spotify top 100.
That's so
Like,
cool.
yeah,
It
so,
reminds me of, the old days digging for records at
mhm.
Jerry's or
Oh,
whatever, like
yeah, I couldn't even
getting into the
imagine.
crates and trying to find that new thing. And it's also like the blog days, right? So were you DJing during the blog days at all? Were you part of that?
I was around for blogging, and when that all popped up in like Tumblr and all these different like avenues on the internet, I think I was finding music, but only on a listening as a consumer basis. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
not like now when I'm digging for stuff. It's like I have an objective and I know what I'm looking for.
yeah, yeah. How do you DJ now? So what's your setup and how do you like what type of files are you using? Where are you finding them? I guess
Yeah, yeah.
SoundCloud,
So
MP3s.
yeah, so I go to SoundCloud. Um, I would say in the background at any point, I'm constantly like finding songs and putting them into their own playlists. And I think that this is an important part is to start the playlist on the website because now they're hosting that. So if my house burned down and all of my hard drives exploded or whatever would happen to where I had a catastrophic failure and lost everything, I could still go to my SoundCloud profile and still have a playlist that I could then later go download everything to again.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it just would suck,
Wow.
but I could do it. So then when I have an event coming up, I'll make a new playlist or like have something already pretty much planned out or not planned out, but pre-selected. Go through that, download everything, get it into Record Box. And at that point, I'm kind of just chunking stuff together. My style of DJing is a little bit different. Excuse me. I would say that I I'm getting booked for performance
Yes.
versus somebody getting booked to DJ. And I think there's a big difference between DJing and performing. A performance, in my eyes, is a 60-minute to an hour and a half if you can do that and you're lucky enough to get booked for that. But if you're performing a 60-minute set, in my mind, if I'm booking you, you should have practiced. Your shit should have been planned enough or like still, free ball it a little bit. You can wing it, have fun with it, but like be prepared. You practiced and you did prep for it and kind of know what you're getting into and make it sound cohesive and do a good job versus DJing being booked by a bar where I'm booked for 5 hours and Sally Mae in the corner wants to hear fucking DaBaby and then Jimbo John wants to hear Michael Jackson, like whatever it is, I'm taking requests, I'm winging it. It's like literally what they want to hear. I'm the DJ, so I'm here to please those people because those people happy pleases the bar owner, venue owner, whatever it is. So like I think that there is a difference between DJing and performing. When I'm booked to perform, my set is probably pretty planned out. Not completely, not down.
With lights and video?
The lights and video, at least in our world, there is somebody handling that. Most of these venues, or at least the promoters, will book somebody to just be that person. That would
Have
be
you gotten into any of that or no?
at like a bare minimum. I could get by if I needed to do it. The visuals that I make are not the three-dimensional visuals like a logo that's 3D spinning. It's more of a 2D logo on a background video. It would be cool to integrate all of that into the set, to have an extra controller that you're hitting a button and it plays certain visuals and all that. I think that that is an inevitable evolution of what performers will have to do. It's already starting to get to that point. If you want to be a festival DJ, you got to spend $1,500 on visuals, or make them yourself, which is also just another thing.
The guy who's crazy for that is actually based out of Charleston, right? It's he was on Rogan. What's his name? With a B. B does. He posts a one visual a day.
And he was on the Joe Rogan Experience?
Yeah, Rogan visual artist from Charleston.
Hmm.
Come on.
So yeah, that guy is making the visuals that then the VJ, the visual jockey, would then be live mixing. Because now it's like you can just be the VJ. You can just be the guy in the back doing visuals the whole night. You're making just as much as the headline. Well, I don't know about that, but you're making like a lot of money. Everybody's kind of got their role. But yeah, there's a lighting guy, there's a visuals guy, there's a sound guy. We've definitely gotten into the point where we're in like a next tier of production value. Have you been to the gym at all?
Tell me about this. This is the gymnasium?
Yes. So the gymnasium where the Wuki show is.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Where is this?
So it's in Bloomfield. It is the old, the Maverick Hotel, or I guess the old name would have been the Ace Hotel.
Yeah.
It's now called the Maverick Hotel, but it's an old YMCA gym. And my buddy Ivan and Rush Promo and Hunter Guire, who is also another person that I should have mentioned 5 times ago, Appalachian Sound Culture. Yeah, so Hunter Guire and Appalachian and Northgate Labs, my buddy Grant, they're kind of tied together. Northgate has the Hennessy sound system, and they outfitted the venue with a Hennessy sound system. I don't want to put out too many numbers, but a really expensive lighting and laser system through our other friend, Wave Motion Sound. Wow, I completely forgot so many guys.
See, I'm glad we gave time.
Yeah,
we have time for
Tyler Boykin with Wave Motion Sound, Grant with Northgate Labs, Hunter with Appalachian Sound Culture. Those guys, I mean, everybody's got their role in that venue, but I mean, those folks are bringing the meat and the potatoes to dinner, I'll tell you. So,
sick.
Yeah, a lot of that hardware came from those folks. So,
do you ever think about getting your own sound system, like having a PA and like what gear do you have for DJing?
I mean, like I have my computer, I have my headset,
music,
and I have my USBs.
No turntables, no mixer.
I have this. I have a little janky mixer. Control. Yeah, but no. My next step is to acquire all of that. But I also think that it would be better spent money to get camera equipment first, and then use profits from camera stuff to then buy DJ stuff. So
it's tough right now.
Yeah.
I feel I've been in a place very similar to where you're at.
Yeah.
This kind of, I'm not sure which direction to go.
Yeah.
Should I invest in medicine? Should I, go hard on, becoming a doctor? Should I invest in my DJing and like work harder to get that taken care of?
Yeah. But I'm sure that, or I think that you made the decision to go for the doctor route, and that has now enabled you to be able to do everything else.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what, figure out what I need to invest in that's going to enable me to make more money to be able to do it all.
That's what it is. It's how do you free yourself from the constraints of paying rent, the basics, like how do I cover food and rent and then I'll, once I have that, then I can do whatever I want, like my passion project, whatever. That's what this is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why it's so free. That's why you don't hear any advertisers. At least for you motherfuckers that are listening on Spotify.
Well, so this, I mean, stuff like, I mean, yeah, like for now, it will take time. I mean, from what I've seen and watched in the last like 5 or so ish, like going through the timeline, I mean, each episode looked a little bit different. Each one, like I can tell that you're testing stuff out. You're seeing what works the best, and like that is literally what it takes. And then all of a sudden, one day, you're just like, damn, this is it. Looks fucking good. And that's what it took me a while to get my streaming setup to look like. Was it took a lot of little cords and a lot of adapters and a lot of shit going wrong before I was like, okay, now I just know what I need.
This guy hated the way that the guests looked so much on my podcast that he brought 100% his own video and lighting setup. God bless you, sir. You motherfucker.
Well, no, because I thought this one was going to be on you, and then I didn't know what was going on, and I was like,
it's all right. It's all right, yeah. No, honestly, the video from Lee, like I just posted this episode with Lee Turbos, like it's so fucking good. Like the whole episode is just killer. And yet the video on him, like for the first half, is like on my iPhone, and it's just like it's not where it needs to be. And it's really upsetting because he is really unbelievable. As a guest, he's one of the world's greatest magicians.
Yeah.
Literally. He knows the entire history of fucking Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
There's photos of him on Harry Houdini's grave. Like
really?
There's video of him hanging upside down, taking a straitjacket off, reproducing a stunt that Harry Houdini did on the exact same location 100 years beforehand at the corner of Wood Street and Liberty in 1916, dude. In 2016, he redid it and had the fucking mayor out there and everybody. And it's just unbelievable. Like the stories that he tells are just, it's breathtaking. And the guy's an actor. He's on Discovery Channel. He did a series, which is called Houdini's Last Secrets, which is unbelievable, with one of Harry Houdini's actual relatives. His cousin is on there, and like they do it with a stunt team from fucking Austin, Texas, and he's traveling all over the world. And I mean, the guy's killing it. And he was sitting in the chair that you're sitting in 5 days ago. Yeah. Like it took.
Yeah, like that's a cool fucking thing. And like you just keep adding on a couple of more guys like that, or girls, I mean, whatever. And just like finding, I don't know, it's just an evolution.
Totally.
That's all that this has been for me.
Totally.
I don't know what the end thing's gonna be.
Dude, that's how I think about it totally. I mean, I've had 15 episodes. Like this is what you're number 18 or whatever. Like, I've got 2 in the can and you must be 18. 18 is a very, very powerful number. Yeah. Jews think about 18 a lot. So
are you Jewish?
Oh yeah, times 2-ish.
Okay.
If you go to a bat mitzvah,
yeah.
If somebody puts money in an envelope,
I never got invited to a bar mitzvah. I don't know if I wasn't cool enough or what.
You didn't have enough Jewish friends, or maybe you grew up in Murraysville. So
yeah.
so if they slide you an envelope, which is in Italian culture, it would be called a buste, I think, or busse, something like that, where you get an envelope with money in it. Mm-hmm. Very common at a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, but the amount of money that's in there is always a multiple of 18. Mm-hmm. So it'll never be $18. Yeah. You're thinking 72, maybe 180, something in there.
Yeah.
And that'll be the like in cash, of course.
Cash rules.
Everything around me, cream, get the money.
Yes. So I need to know more about the Jewish 18.
Yeah. So
It's all new to
18
me.
represents life. It's chai. So if you've ever seen a necklace around somebody who's Jewish, they usually have two different necklaces. One's Star of David, the Magen David, which is a 6-pointed star, two triangles.
Yeah.
One's upright, one's down, and the other design is a chai, which is chet yud, and it's 2 letters in Hebrew, which mean life, literally just life. And the word chai means life, which is why when we drink, we say l'chaim.
L'chaim, okay.
L'chaim, to life.
That's what that is.
To life, l'chaim, right? This is to life.
Okay.
Which is in a song, which is great, by the Black Eyed Peas. Do you ever, the song I Got a Feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can come up with where it pops up. Let's live it up. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Yes. Yes.
Right? So that's l'chaim. That's the cheer that the Jews offer, which is to life. And chet yud, if you take the numerology. So if you actually break it down, the numbers, so every letter in Hebrew has a number which corresponds to it, which means that aleph, alpha. Do you ever hear alphabet? Do you ever hear of the alphabet?
Yeah.
Right. Aleph is the first letter, and bet is the second letter.
So just AB.
But it's literally called the alphabet, right?
Yeah.
Aleph bet. That's Hebrew.
Yeah.
Aleph.
White Americans just steal
bet.
everything.
Aleph bet. I can't. Aleph bet vet gimel dalet hey. Chad zayin yet chet kaf. I don't remember them all. It's embarrassing. But the point is, every letter has a corresponding number. So the numerology is 10 and 8. So chet yud is 10 and 8. Therefore 18. Therefore we give $18. And 18 is a holy number. And I mean, it's wild how how like Jewish mystics will get into it.
Mm.
The the study of a lot of this stuff is in what's called Kabbalah. So the Kabbalistics or the Kabbalah is like the Jewish mysticism, and the there's a lot of different sects of Judaism, but one of them is what's called Chabad, or like Orthodox Judaism. Chabad is, one of them, and they're all mystics, like every single one of them. That's, that's where you get a lot of this Jewish wisdom.
So I have one question that I need your Jewish wisdom.
Oh yeah, let's go.
When I call people schmucks, is that is that bad? Should I not do that? Because I've been saying that a lot recently.
No,
okay, so it's not like that's like super offensive.
I think a dick.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
I'm pretty sure a schmuck is a dick.
As long as it's not like some like underlying racist or anti-Semitic tones or something that I didn't know. Okay,
schmuck,
cool.
Schmuck, dick.
Yeah, I called my buddy a schmuck, and I knew that he was Jewish, and then he thought it was fucking hilarious, and then I was like, "Is that worse than I'm thinking?"
Next time, call him a schmeckala.
Schmeckala. Okay.
That's a little dick.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, you fucking schmeckala. Yeah, I don't know where that one. I don't know when that happened. That I just like, but I do say schmuck like frequently.
Yeah, a lot of Jewish. So Jewish is a language. People don't realize that, but Jewish is Yiddish. And Yiddish just means Jewish. So Yid is a Jew. Jewish is Yiddish. They're the same thing. Yeah. And Yiddish is a language, which is a combination of German, Hebrew, and some other languages, probably a little Russian, and I don't know what else. And some words that are on their own. There's a lot of English words that are Yiddish. So bagel is a Yiddish word. Kaput is a Yiddish word.
Kaput. Checks out.
I mean, there's plenty.
Yeah.
You can go through. But kvetch, schlep. You ever hear schlep?
I've heard it, but I've never used it.
I had to schlep these fucking bags all the way up the hill.
Really? Okay. I've heard it, but I don't think I've ever used it. I wouldn't have thought. It's pretty much just schmuck is the one that I've like consistently used without knowing the actual.
Yeah.
I figured it couldn't be too bad, but I also didn't know.
Finagle a bagel. So
Finagle a bagel. Okay.
Yeah. I think when you bagel someone is when you kind of indicate to them that you're Jewish without like being obvious about it.
I'm not Jewish, so I can't bagel anybody.
Right. You're unable to bagel, but I can bagel. So if I'm in the line, I can tell somebody else is Jewish, and maybe I say something like, "Oy vey, this, this weather."
I will let one of those out. It's pretty sarcastic. I know that I'm like poking fun with that one. Schmuck, I didn't know if I was poking fun or not, but when I say oy vey, I'm definitely, but like respectfully.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's funny.
And well, I don't know. I mean, I lived in Bloomfield, right next to Shady Side. You get a lot of crisscross over there. So, I mean, those are good areas to live.
Do you miss living in the city?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the stint back home has extended longer than I wanted it to. But I'm not going to rush into a situation that I'll just revert back to this, like, and plan it out, have a good plan.
I don't know, man. I feel like you got to make power moves. I always, my dad is always making fun of me, saying that I made power moves. He calls like my wedding a power move, medical school a power move. Like, yeah, I've got loans, but I also am about to sign that contract, and so yeah, like fuck you. It was a power move.
Yeah.
And so the way I think about it is, if you have a vision, if you believe in yourself, if you have an idea about what's coming next, you got to just move, like hard, like your life depends on it.
Yeah.
Because it does. You know, your happiness depends on it. Your ability to stay alive another day depends on it. It depends on being free, and freedom is really, really tricky, like when you live with somebody else, any other person, you're not free.
No.
You're not. Like, I'm not free.
Yeah.
I live with my wife and my 2 babies. Like, I have 4 people in this house. I ain't free. Trust me.
Yeah. And I think that the pandemic really showed people that, because my situation, I was in a relationship during that time and we made it through the thick of it. But man, that first like 6 months, bro, people were dropping like flies. It was like, you could take bets. It was like, who's it going to be today? Fucking mental breakdowns left and right. People were breaking up. You heard about this, that, and the other thing. It was just like, you put 2 people in a 1-bedroom apartment together for 2 years. It's tough, man. And, that happens. And, it's, I do aspire to have a family and a home and everything, but I'm also taking my time right now, I think.
Well, you can, man. You're a dude. You got plenty of time. Like, your sperm is good for another 20, 30 years. Like, just rock it. Let it roll.
Everybody
Plus,
hopes.
You got HRT. Like, you're good, man. What do you mean? You're rocking, bro. Yeah. Like, you're chilling. You got to use your sex to an advantage. I told my buddy that. I'm like, right now, your stock is super, super low.
Jeez.
Right now, your pool of potential mates, like right now you're making, this is my buddy in residency. It's like my best friend. I DJ'd his wedding 6 weeks ago. Amazing, amazing time. My first time ever DJing on USB sticks.
Really?
Yeah, I never did it. I only played on turntables ever with Serato.
So with Serato through your library, so like without Serato, these would just be normal vinyls. You're picking the vinyl and playing the song off of it with chalk marks. because I don't. I mean, I learned on these, and it was always through a computer. But like, if you don't have the computer, you're just playing the vinyls with crayon mark to know where to start, right? Is that not how it works?
No, that's dope that you know about the crayon
Yeah.
technique. That was popularized on the Get Down, right? That was like when people found out about that trick that
Yeah.
was first discovered by Grandmaster Flash. I have his book behind me, which is
Yeah.
dope. That's cool that you know about that. But no, you don't need that. Actually, if you look closely, like look here, you can see there's 3 tracks on here, and you can see the
There's
big.
only 3. Well, this is a wait, is this an actual?
Yeah. So you can see like the 2
Yeah.
thick lines.
Yeah.
So there's one big thick one at the end, which is where you drop the needle if you want it to start just at the beginning of the record. Then there's another thick one here, and then another thick one here. And then there's like little thick ones throughout. So as you like play vinyl, you get very used to identifying those using visual cues. And what helps is, of course, lights. So like, oh, I guess these aren't plugged in. Maybe this one is. No, neither of them are plugged in. But whatever. Like when you turn them on, you can use this light.
It'll shine on the grooves from the angle.
Yep, you can see the grooves in the record. But I don't know if anybody's ever talked to you about these. So has anybody ever talked to you about these little dots on the outside?
Not if they mean anything. I mean, I've used them to alter and also just, you know.
Yeah. So this is dope. So I wish these were turned on. And I would show you this like physically, but do you see how there's like one big thick one?
Yeah.
And then there's one little guy and then 2 little guys above it.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically represent the different speeds that the platter can spin at. And it has to do with the strobing effect that this light does. So this
like
light
frames per second.
That's right. That's right. So the lights, it actually has a strobing effect related to these. And so each one is illuminated based on how fast the platter is spinning. And so at 0, it's on the thick one. At +3, it's on the little guy above it. At +6, it's on the little guy 2 above it. And at -3, it's on the little guy below it. So there you go.
Yeah,
little Technics wizardry.
That is a that's a new. So you said Technics wizardry. Is that something that's just a Technics brand thing?
There could be other turntable companies that do it. I'm not sure, but that's something that I know from these guys.
You feel it. It just feels like grip. It's like, oh, this is just helping me to move things, but that makes a lot of sense. I don't think that I ever realized, because I don't know if I ever had to use a light on that this would have a strobing effect.
Yeah.
And then you get into the anatomy of your eyeball and the frames, and then like how that, because same thing with cameras. 24 frames is the closest to your eye, so it's like that's why they want cinematic film in 24 frames. And then I shoot a lot. If I'm doing a 4K live audio, I'm probably shooting in 30. I can then slow it down by 20% to get to 24 frames, or just leave it at 30. But then anything above that, it's pretty much slow motion footage. So it's like,
do people notice it if you drop it below 24? Like, where's the point where people notice?
I think the 24 is the lowest that you should ever go, and that would be pretty much strictly like to match what your eyeball is seeing. What I do, these concert recap videos, the recap videos generally are going to be slow motion and sped up. But things that are like live clips that I want it to like look like real life, then it's got to be 24.
What would it run me if let's say I have a show, like if I finally get my shit together and I have a show at Mr. Smalls. It's a 1-hour DJ gig, 2-hour DJ gig, and I hire ZRO Productions to do my recap video. What am I looking at?
So I'm going to put you all on for this one. So I've learned, and through my experience, I make a lot more money when I ask you what you want to pay. Because value-based pricing is very important.
Yeah.
Value-based pricing is essentially, what does that event, what does the service that I'm providing mean to you? Are you Isaac, that is a local DJ that is just needs something for your portfolio? Or are you Bud Light with billions of dollars that needs something very important for your big investment that cost you $150,000. So figuring out the value of the service that you're providing and what is the overall investment that your client is willing to spend. Now, if I broke it down, my DJ friends, I'll help somebody out anywhere from $100 to $300. It depends on what you want, what you need, photos. You start adding on video as well, things like that. We can get up into like bigger ranges, but I mean, I'll come out on a night and block a night off for $100, $150. It's not like it is a lot in the sense of for an hour time if it's just a 1 hour slot. But I mean, when you start talking about whole events, then we're talking about 300, 400, 500, because I'm going to be there for 4 to 5 hours. That's going to be another 3 hours of editing after that. I tend to over deliver, which is something I need to work on. Because you come from the mud, you just like, I'm in grind mode. I'm still in grind mode, bro. I'm going to be in grind mode until I can afford to not be in grind mode. So like when people give me money for something, I'm going to give you twice as much as what you paid for. And that's going to go a lot longer or a lot farther than
it's the edits, man, for me that have been the most valuable. I find like for our wedding, for example, we had this incredible photographer. I mean, we had a few that showed up. Probably like the best photos were definitely from the one person that we asked to be there, which was Naya Rappaport. She's one of the best yoga teachers in South Florida and one of the best photographers in South Florida. So literally just an unbelievable generational type talent. Her man is one of my dear friends, Evan, and she runs a yoga studio out of like the Fort Lauderdale kind of area, which is called Space Unknown. And the photos that she did were breathtaking because she took some time to edit them. Like you could tell that the lighting was perfect. There was color correction. There was a lot of detail spent on the actual individuals' faces where all of us just looked great. Was it called retouching? Yeah,
retouching is... So like I provide a lot of services in what I do, but I mean like realistically, well, for video footage, I'm about photos, a photographer should be able to do everything all in one because you're delivering that end package. A full video project, there's usually just a person that's the color corrector. There's the person that filmed it. There's an editor that's then connecting all of those dots. I mean, video is really at a point where you need a team. You need multiple people. You need A cam, B cam, and potentially a behind the scenes C cam. And it's like the moving pieces that go together to make that happen are like exponentially larger than like one photographer that's providing everything for you. So
have you found those people yet?
Well, that's where the team is coming together, building that team out. So I've worked with a lot of people that I'm comfortable with. Yeah, I mean, I can give some more details about it. So basically, between me and Grayson Hall, who has shown interest, and I want to disclaim, nobody has signed contracts. No, this isn't like, any of these guys could just bail out tomorrow. I don't think they're going to because we've been talking about this for 6 months, but they could. So it's not like anything has been set in stone. But my buddy Grayson, I've known him for like 5, 6, 7 years now, and we met at a music festival, and he was a photographer. I was a photographer. Stayed in touch. I work in West Virginia quite frequently, and that's kind of his home base. And then he comes up here as well. So it got to a point where it was like, if Grayson's doing photos and I'm doing video, and we're starting to like step into each other's like home bases, like we need to just work together. So that was kind of like the first idea. Between me and him being what I would say more of the face of the company, because we've been doing it for so long now that we have connections with larger scale festival things, be the face of the company. But then we have a couple of more folks on it. Wuki, Wuhshi. He has been doing a lot of the photography for longterm while I've been doing video. So me and him immediately started working well together. My other buddy, Brian Woho, Wallflower Media, really great artist. He has been doing this for a long time in different aspects of it all. He started, I think, with rap and hip hop, but now hopefully getting him to gravitate more into just the EDM world. Dylan Laviere. Dylan has been an amazing graphic design artist, so he is going to be handling some more of the logo stuff that I don't want to do because I hate Adobe Illustrator, so got a guy for that. Michael Raycraft is going to basically be kind of like what you're doing right now, being the operator for a multicam system. What we're going to do for the Wuki show is to have multiple cameras set up very similar to this and do a live audio recording for the whole set and release a boiler room style full set recording of that. And that's going to be one of the biggest projects that I've ever taken on. And I really hope it goes well. We're going to find out. So
Are you doing video of your own DJ performance?
I am, because I was like, if we're doing it for Wuki, we're doing it for my set too. I'm not fucking not doing it for my set. So there will be a full recording for the Cloudfit set, and there will be a full recording for Wuki. Unfortunately, I do not think that we could risk doing it for anybody else on this one.
Yeah.
Which really sucks for the people that are also on the lineup, and I do feel bad about that. But also, how this is going to go, I'm basically going to use my set as the test run and make sure that like there's no critical failures, cameras aren't overheating or like out of memory or like anything that could go wrong. Just make sure it doesn't go wrong. And then for the Wuki set to have it all be on point. So we do have an hour in between, or we have an hour and a half, I think, in between those two sets to like double check everything.
Cool. Who's Wuki?
I don't know. So on Instagram, he posts a lot of these remixes.
So it's an electronic music artist.
Yes, electronic
Dubstep
music artist. More so what I was referring to, like that speed housey, like 130 house.
Okay.
So like kind of like fist bumpy house.
Okay.
So a little bit more upbeat, not quite like you wouldn't want to have a conversation during the set because you're going to be dancing.
Good. I like that.
Yeah. Which I do find, and which I do realize also, is that some of the good parts about house and techno is that it's not always fully getting after it, and you can have a conversation sometimes in the middle of a house set.
No, I was mad as hell actually about that. I was at Movement Festival over Memorial Day, and there were people talking, and I was mad as fuck. I was so angry.
Yeah.
They were talking like just trying to talk, and I was trying to dance, and I was really, really disappointed.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. I get it. You want to be somewhere, you want to talk. Go somewhere fucking else. It's a dance floor.
Yeah.
Dance floor. That's literally what it's called. It's not called the talk floor. It's called the dance floor.
So, yeah, that I do feel that sometimes certain subgenres of house and techno can enable that a little bit more.
The talking?
Like
what?
126 house, 126 techno. I'm like, yeah, I could just talk to this person next to me because it's not making me get it. Like, I like it. It is good music. It sets the vibe. You have a good time. But I want to get it. I like bass music.
Can I just turn up the volume? Can I just turn up the gain to the point that you can't hear your friend?
You could, but I don't think that the DJs that play that type of music do that. They're not.
I will.
Yeah.
I will absolutely.
I will.
Watch me.
Yeah.
Watch me.
I like playing.
I know where the master gain is. I don't look. Redlining is headlining.
Yeah. You know how it goes.
I do.
Yeah.
And if I see you talking to your friend, I'm turning the volume up until you can no longer hear. That's it.
Yeah. You could hit him with it.
I will. I'm angry.
Breaking the law. Breaking the law. All right.
We got
We're 45 minutes over. I think that breaking the law is the best time. Unless you have a lot more that you want to talk about. I don't want to. I feel like I'm holding you up now.
Holding me? No, I'm having so much fun. This has been awesome.
Will you have me back?
Are you? Yeah. No, we can do a million of these. Are you doing anything tonight?
Yeah. So tonight I actually am going to. I think I briefly mentioned it earlier. Arakusa, my friend Alexa Leonard, Her DJ name is Arakusa. She hosts an event called Elixir. It is at the venue Remedy, which is in Lawrenceville. I've done a ton of events there. We did some psytrance events there. We did some drum and bass events. We did a lot of bass music events. Very cool venue. You like walk in the bottom floor. It's a bar, but then you got to keep going to the back. You hit like a sharp left. It goes up a staircase, and then you're in a whole different world. It's like completely cut off. You can't hear the downstairs at all. Gives very like heavy like speakeasy vibes because you have to go through a whole venue to get to the back, to get to the staircase, to go up to the second floor, which is, I loved it. I thought that was the coolest fucking thing ever. And yeah, it's got graffiti all over the place, Sharpie pens, stickers. So it's a cool vibe. And yeah, tonight should be cool. My buddy Proper from West Virginia is playing an all original set. He's a producer and DJ. Really great guy. Him and Spike Easy, who is also my friend from West Virginia. They're roommates. They have this little bit of a duo. Not that it's like that they're an official duo. It's just that Dom is Spike's like producer and makes all of his beats. So when Dom does an all original set, it's gonna also include a lot of Spike. So
not Dover Spike, different.
Not Dover. No, Dom and Spike.
Spike
Not
Easy.
Dom and Spike. Not Dover Spike.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
But very, very good people, very cool stuff. So I'm gonna head over there eventually. I don't know exactly. I'll probably end up just start schmucking around over there.
Shit. Are you are you booked over there, or are you just hanging out?
I'm just hanging out tonight.
Are you a producer also? Have you done any? Are you making music?
So
or interested in making music?
Yeah. So I got the license to own my own DAW. I went Fruity Loops because I noticed similarities between how Fruity Loops is set up and my video editing software.
Whoa.
When I tried to use Ableton, it just felt very foreign to me.
What's the video editing software?
Well, I started with Final Cut Pro, but now I use all the Adobe suites, so Premiere and like all those. Yeah. So, After Effects, very similar as well. So there were similarities that I felt between the two that made it easier for me to gravitate towards Fruity Loops. I do feel that eventually it just seems like everybody goes over to Ableton, and then it's like if I want to stay up with the times and be able to collaborate with people, that I would eventually need to go to Ableton, but I feel like I need to get a better understanding of the music theory, structuring, phrasing. I'm at a point now where like 6 months deep, I think I got it for Christmas, that I can make something that sounds like a song, but it sounds muddy. I don't know if I know quite understand. Maybe I just don't understand the mixing aspect.
Yeah, mixing and mastering.
Haven't even tried mastering. I'm still figuring out mixing, so it's like.
But you can go on YouTube. You can learn all this.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
like
and that's
Beatport. Have you ever? Not Beatport. There's a music school called, and I don't remember what it's called, but it was based out of New York City, and whatever the fuck it's called, there's plenty of places where you can go online and just get the answers.
Yeah, definitely been deep into the tutorials, and also there's this new like wave of just people on Twitch, like that's just a part of their day now. They spend 4 hours trying to like their normal like production time. They just same how I'm like, if I'm gonna be gaming, I might as well stream it. If that dude's gonna sit there and he's gonna be producing music for 8 hours of that day, he might as well stream 4 of it.
Wow.
Like, and then you're now turning in your dedicated like work time into like I'm getting people into my stream. I'm making a little bit of ad revenue and people are subscribing. It's not a ton of money. But if you kept doing that for the next 10 years.
Right. But I'm live.
Yeah.
And like I'm on there.
Even this, like I know that it would take another layer of figuring stuff out. But if you were live on Twitch and you had a consistent schedule, like you would have to really fill your shit out to make it like a consistent like.
I did go live with like the last 4 or 5 guests.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get serious about Twitch, and like I just couldn't get any headway going.
It's gonna be tough, bro. I get 3 people in my stream and one of them's me. So it's like it's not easy to get people in there. But if you lead with promo, and you have like if
What's the right promo? Is it just going on Instagram and posting the link?
I mean, I would just say, like, if we had planned a week ago that it would have been on Twitch, then I would have been like, I'm going to be on this live stream. You can check into the live, like, on Twitch, like, in-person part of it. But then it's also going to be released on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, after the fact, I'm going to really push those links, and I hope that people check them out. I also think it is important. Do you do like a shorter edited down version? Yeah.
The reels have been killer. I love the reels.
Yeah. I think the highlights, the reels, I mean, even if you don't want to do it and you just send me the full thing, chopping that down into...
That's my favorite part. Like the bouncing out the reels has been my favorite part. The fucking 1.5 minutes of every episode is just like, it's killer. And I like to take little sound bites of people that are just random. Absolutely. I like to take little like...
Yeah, I think getting
there was one where it was just me breathing. Like I did a really deep breath.
I heard myself a couple of times. Yeah, I'm figuring out how close, because this is so foreign to me.
That's the right distance.
The most mic, and I saw Ricky say this in his thing, like the most mic work he does is like 1, 2, 3, jump, and you're just screaming into this microphone.
Yep.
So like me trying to make it.
There's different types of mics, and like these happen to be directional. So what it means is it doesn't pick up.
Yeah, I can hear it from here over here.
Exactly. Like it. Yep. It doesn't.
Yep.
It doesn't pick up noise from like anything.
Oh, so that is
good.
So
you really have to be right on top of it.
There were a couple times I was not, so you're probably gonna have to.
It's all right. I have really good compressors. I'll show you the algorithm if you're interested. Like it's all Ableton and shit, but like I've gotten it pretty dialed in where I can just take. I have a saved preset, which is, and I'll tell people here, but it's. Let me see if I can remember. So it's 2 compressors, 2 EQs. So the first EQ. So let me do it in order. So 2 EQs. The first EQ is a high pass. The second EQ is a little more complicated than that, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's levels to it. Then 2 compressors, the first of which has a little bit more gain than the second, usually like 7 decibels on the first one, whatever on the second. And then a gate, which is basically where you cut all of the audio under a certain decibel level, which means when I'm talking, your mic doesn't work. Yeah. And when you're talking, mine doesn't work, which just makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah. The white cuts out that white noise,
Yeah. Which Disclosure, man. What a great group. I miss Disclosure. You remember the song, White Noise?
Yeah, well, you said Disclosure. I love the group. And I was like, White Noise? Who is White Noise?
Just Noise.
Yeah, I have
White Noise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I have a Disclosure remix in
the set for Friday.
It's in a folder. It's in a folder.
Let's go.
I can't say it's in the set.
It
it's
might not happen.
We have things set up that I have like
play when a fire starts to burn.
Yeah, I have like chunks of stuff that are like in the for sure, and then I have chunks of stuff that's, because we're doing a back to back, it's more of a all over the place, just ready for anything.
So is it 2 records, or how does the back to back work?
Yeah, you did ask me that. So it's a 4-deck CDJ 3000 setup. So the big boy new CDJs.
Yep.
Whatever the newest fucking
probably Pioneer.
Yeah, not this one. It's the
oh, thanks.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just not Rain, and definitely doesn't have
on that Pioneer shit.
It's whatever it's an industry standard thing. It's not even that there's any preference. It's just that all of the sudden riders are just like, this is what we want because it has this effects knob and this thing. And like, I get it if you're going to standardize things because it makes it easier to like just go to every venue. But also like Pioneer doesn't keep up with their production numbers. And it's like, you got to be on a waiting list for 8 months to get a new product. And it's like, dog, what, you want me to put my shows on pause? I can't, like, it doesn't work like that. Like, so maybe if they made enough of them and didn't jack up the prices.
Wow. So they're talking like 2 stacks for a new Pioneer mixer probably now.
I don't know the numbers because I haven't had to buy them, but they're not cheap.
Yeah,
None of it's cheap. It's insane. A full 4-deck setup is insane right now.
Yeah.
And
But they have it at the venue. They're gonna pull it out.
I didn't
It's
buy
on the
it.
rider.
Not mine.
No hotel on the rider.
Yeah, but 4 decks. So I'll probably just be on the. I think we have it set up that we're both just gonna be on. Like I'll be on 3 and 4. He'll be on 1 and 2. But then we also have access to the 3rd deck. There are some instances where I need 3. I don't think that I have any instances that I need 4, and I don't think that I would want to use 4 just to enable Chris to be able to be ready for whatever could come his way. And same thing on his end. I don't think that he would use up all 4 decks and leave me kind of just like, what do I do?
The cool things that I've seen with like Jeff Mills, the Wizard in Detroit, he used to do 3 decks where he would have like one here, and then one in the front. And it would, the middle one.
Top boys. Yeah, I've seen the top ones.
Yeah.
Oh, but just a 3rd one in the middle. Okay.
Yeah. That one would be like, I know what you're talking about. Have CDJs like on 4, a second deck, like up top.
The angle.
No, this one would just be in the middle here, and it would be pretty much just for sound effects and for like spoken word. So he would play
cool.
Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream, while he was playing beats. Like that way you have something going on while you're mixing.
So instead of Martin Luther King speeches, we play like Little John to the walls, to the sweat drops down my balls. So,
Acapellas?
Yeah, so that is a big part of the Cloudfits thing, is that we try and layer acapellas. We try and do like mashups. It's a little bit of this OG trap infused, like a dated old school trap, but like remixes of those songs with a newer flair, because like it's getting to the point now where just the production style of some of these older songs just cannot hold up. And that's just like with time. I mean, you take Original Dawn from fucking 2006 or whenever that song came out, it's not going to sound the same as anything that's coming out now at 2023. So it's, the quality of songs has definitely changed.
You're talking about the Bauer record? That was definitely not 2006. That's got to be like 2011.
Major Lazer. Let me see. Jamie, look it up.
This is like 2011. Are you talking about the Bauer record?
No, that one. But it's Original Dawn by Major Lazer, I think. Unless the Major Lazer one is a remix.
2010, 2011.
It is Flostradamus remix. Okay, 2013 Major Lazer Original Dawn Flostradamus remix.
Yeah, so there you go. Not 2006, because that was before I started DJing.
Yes, but you could imagine it would be even worse if you were taking a song from that and comparing it to now.
Maybe the production quality from like, like what are you really talking about? You're talking about over compression.
It's really just the loudness. It's really just the loudness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And do you know how bad the fatigue is that I get when I go to shows where people are playing records like that that are overproduced, like
loud.
overcompressed? I can handle about 10 minutes before my ears just start to wear out on me.
Yeah.
And it just makes me...
You wear earplugs?
Yeah, of course.
Nice earplugs?
Yeah, I have some ear bowls that are custom molded.
Okay, yeah.
Which are fine. But like, do you wear them at all? Like every time? Like photos, videos, DJing?
I've been a bad boy and I lost mine and haven't just bought the new ones. But yeah, it was like about a month ago I lost mine. But I had eargasms. They were great. I could, have a conversation with somebody, but still block out the decibels that needed to be blocked and still feel everything. So like, definitely worth getting nice earplugs. But yeah, it was a really funny story, actually. I just was at a show and I went to go pull my earplugs out. And then instead of the earplugs, it was this like tiny rubber lizard. And I was like, did I prank myself or did somebody prank me? Or like, what's up? Because now I don't have earplugs. And it was just my little earplug container. And the only thing in it was this little lizard. So I don't know what happened to them, but I need to just buy new ones. So it's been about 2 months, maybe more. But
that's maybe one of my favorite stories on the podcast.
Yeah, it's I really, in that moment I was like, damn. It was like literally I was like, fuck, I need to put my earplugs in. And I like poured them out in my hand, and I was like, what? I was like, this is hilarious, but where are my earplugs? And I don't know if I did it to myself or somebody did it to me. So I don't know.
Fucking hilarious. It was just a little.
They never showed
rubber
up.
lizard.
Yeah, little rubber lizard. I could, I might be able to find the picture, but I still have the lizard. It's
Yeah, but we don't really want him.
no, I want my earplugs.
Yeah. God bless you, sir.
brother. Yeah, we'll close it out. Hey,
Ooh, let's get a
this
picture.
was awesome. Yeah,
Yep, thanks for doing it.
Let's do it. Yep.
Cheers.
Yes, thank you guys.